Chapter 746, Slaying the First Divine Lord. Posted on August 7th, 2020 BY, Zywin's tyrant body had a golden luster on it. He was like a battle god made of gold. Under this layer of golden light, there was a layer of blood-red luster, which was hard to distinguish if one did not look for it carefully. This red luster was like golden luster's vassals. Stepping into the Great Sage Intermediate gave Yi Shiwen a fundamental leap in strength. Although it was only one step difference, it couldn't be crossed by the Great Sage Initial. You're courting death. The first Divine Lord took the first move. He had to take the lead while Yi Shiwen was not yet fully capable of harnessing the power of the Great Sage Intermediate. That was his only hope to defeat Yi Shiwen. The long saber aura was transformed into a yin and yang catalog, which came down from the sky and suppressed all directions. The first Divine Lord finally went all out. In the yin and yang catalog, every trace of yin and yang power contained a domineering saber aura, capable of destroying the world. Glad you call the shots, Yi Shiwen shouted. He just broke into the Great Sage Intermediate, and he was in need to have an opponent to hone himself. He launched his move. In an instant, his fist was like a huge star. He bombarded it, just like a comet hitting a planet. It brought up unparalleled momentum and stirred up vibrations in all directions. Booms! The confrontation between the two terrifying masters instantly shattered the world. The place where Saber Aura and the stars collided instantly burst a huge crack. Among the cracks, countless forces boiled in it. It was twisted into a turmoil by two completely different power. The shockwave erupted from the fight between the two, swept out in all directions. Wolf Cub shielded off the shockwave from Yuan sect. Although Wolf Cub might not be the opponent of any one of the two, it was more than capable of blocking off the shockwaves. However, those Divine Legion were not so lucky. As the shock waves swept out, the whole legion was torn apart. Just this one confrontation, many warriors were killed simply because they were too close. Ah, what a great fight! Yi Shiwen cheered and once again launched another attack as fast as a meteor. The first Divine Lord was anxious. He knew he could not continue the battle among his Divine Legion again. Otherwise, the Divine Legion which he had mustered so much effort to build would be devastated. But the first Divine Lord had no control over it. As the saying goes, strike the opponent when he is weak. Yi Shiwen had the upper hand, hence he would definitely not show any mercy. He bombarded Shattered Star Fist repeatedly on the first Divine Lord. In the face of Yi Zywin's attack, the first Divine Lord did not dare to underestimate it. Although Yi Shiwen had just stepped into the Great Sage Intermediate and the foundation was not really concrete, Yi Shiwen was still advantageous in facing the first Divine Lord who had his strength soared with Bloodline Awakening. One punch, another punch, yet another punch. The first Divine Lord was frightened to find that every punch of Yi Shiwen actually seemed to be improving. In fact, Yi Shiwen consolidated a portion of his realm in every punch. He had an increasing grasp on mobilizing the terrifying strength of a Great Sage Intermediate. In other words, Yi Shiwen was getting stronger and stronger, and his power was diminishing. He could only temporarily possess such terrible strength by stimulating the blood of his ancestors. Even though it was stronger than the ordinary secret technique with a longer duration, the time limit was still there. He had wasted many times in the previous brawl with Yi Shiwen. Initially, it was not a big deal. He had the confidence to slay Yi Shiwen before the secret technique's effect diminished. Contrarily to his expectation, Yi Shiwen just attained a breakthrough. This made his original chances of success suddenly reduced to nothing. Saving his own life would be a huge challenge now. He had never expected that the situation would develop into this. He originally wanted to take revenge on Yi Shiwen, but it turned out that he was just Yi Zywin's prey. Ha, Yi Shiwen. Yes, that's it. Beat him up and kill him. The wolf cub below saw Yi Shiwen once again gain the upper hand and immediately cheered. Finally, Yi Zywin's every punch stopped the advancement in the power realm. He had finally consolidated his power realm. After consolidating his power realm, Yi Shiwen did not have any reservations. He mustered all his strength in hunting the first Divine Lord. It's time to end this. Divine Legion shouldn't exist in the world, let alone the remnants of your native clan. Yi Shiwen snorted. Native clan and the human clan had been fighting for many years. It was already impossible to distinguish between right and wrong. The turmoil in the human clan, however, had something to do with the native clan. Of course, the native clan would definitely play a role in them, causing many innocent lives to be sacrificed. Therefore, Yi Shiwen, like most people, did not have a good opinion of native clan. Boom! The two exchanged blows again. Yi Zaiwen's increasingly powerful attack instantly fell down, just like the collision of stars. The huge and terrifying power swept out in an instant. Poof! The first Divine Lord couldn't contend with the gap in strength. Yi Shiwen broke most of the first Divine Lord's bones in the chest with the constant bombardment of punches. It appeared to be mangled. Green blood splashed in the sky. The first Divine Lord was thrown away for a distance before coming to a halt. His vigor also seemed to break apart by this fist. The green hair on the body also fully retracted into his body in a moment, and the bloodline power faded. His face was abnormally pale, and he knelt in the air. This can't be happening. This can't be happening. The first Divine Lord growled unwillingly. He had painstakingly prepared for so long, and yet he still fell short. I haven't established an enduring foundation. I haven't revived my clan. I haven't avenged my brother. This can't be happening. Divine Lord! The Divine Legion, who had never been shaken, panicked and rushed towards Yi Shiwen to save the Divine Lord in their hearts. However, would Yi Shiwen give them mercy? The storm wing behind him fanned around, instantly formed a storm domain that separated them with the first Divine Lord for a distance. Revive native clan? Yi Shiwen sneered. This idea stirred up countless turmoil, but he would not say much to the opponent. He stepped out directly to the first Divine Lord. 5 fingers squeezed into a fist. It was bombarded alongside the terrifying light lingered around it. Yi Shiwen was too fast. The first Divine Lord had no time to react. His previous injury slowed down his reaction speed. Poof! The first Divine Lord was blasted into the air by Yi Shiwen, screaming agonizingly as his flesh broke apart. All signs of life escaped from his body. Yi Shiwen was relieved. After he killed the first Divine Lord, he solved a serious problem. With the death of the first Divine Lord, the entire Divine Legion collapsed like a dam break. Ah! 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 Those Divine Legions fell from the sky one after another. 10,000 people died in an instant. Yi Shiwen could not help but take a breath. The first Divine Lord had controlled them with a secret technique. As long as the first Divine Lord died, they would definitely die. This kind of malicious means was absolutely rare. 10,000 lives were buried alongside the first Divine Lord. The first Divine Lord was definitely cruel. Although the first Divine Lord was from a different clan, the Divine Legion was after all composed of humans. For him, they could die at any time. He disregarded their importance and imposed a secret technique on them. No wonder these Divine Legions would rather die and rush over to save the first Divine Lord. It turns out that they knew that if the first Divine Lord died, they would also be buried with him. Death is their only path. However, it also solved a big problem for Yi Shiwen. The Divine Legion, composed of 10,000 troops, were elites. It would not be easy to eliminate them. Now they all die in one shot. It saved Yi Shiwen countless efforts. Yi Shiwen dashed out like a cluster of lights. At this time, there was a burst of cheers from Yi Yuan's sect. All the people of Yi Yuan's sect felt like a new lease of life after the disaster. They thought they were dead, but they didn't expect Wolf Cub and Yi Shiwen would appear afterward and eliminate the enemies, allowing Yi Yuan's sect to escape the calamity. Although there were still damages, it was still better than getting completely wiped out. Ha, good job! Wolf Cub laughed exaggeratedly, seemingly quite proud as if this was his achievement. Considering its consistent, shameless nature, Yi Shiwen was already used to it. Under my wise leadership, he finally attained a great victory. Shut up! Yi Shiwen directly gave it a slap. It is all my hard work. What nonsense with wise leadership. Yi Shiwen, you're a bastard. I'm gonna bite you. You just beat me when I met you. Wolf Cub was annoyed by Yi Zaiwen's slap. It lunged itself toward Yi Shiwen. However, the only result would be getting slapped away by Yi Shiwen. For a while, Wolf Cub flew to Yi Zaiwen's side with frustration and said in its mouth, "Damn Yi Shiwen. Just you wait. My cultivation will exceed you one day. I will kick you around like a ball." Yi Shiwen ignored this naturally. "Do you want to surpass me? Keep dreaming. When did you come out of Thousands Demon Beast Island?" asked Yi Shiwen. "Just recently," Wolf Cub said a little angrily, apparently quite dissatisfied with Yi Zaiwen's 2 slaps. "Don't you say that you will come out after attaining Sage Realm?" Yi Shiwen asked. The duo landed extremely fast. They were at Yuan Sek's door in a glimpse. "It's that senior. He said that the world is not going to be peaceful. He just wants to keep me in. Supposedly, I can only come out after attaining Transcendent Realm. But I'm smart. I just escaped," said Wolf Cub proudly. Yi Shiwen felt helpless. This Wolf Cub never does things with logic. However, the worries in his heart were deepened. Even Senior Minu of Thousands Demon Beasts Island felt that the world was going to be chaotic. Wolf Cub could only protect itself if it was in the Transcendent Realm. It was conceivable that this turmoil would be huge, leading to many things happening. Even the unpredictable Thousands Demon Beasts Island, with secret origins, had sealed off its island to avoid risks. Please go to read the latest chapters for free. Chapter 747. Chapter 747. Riddles in Origin. Thousands Demon Beasts Island was already an unpredictable place in Yi Zaiwen's hearts. This still applied despite him already attaining the Great Sage Realm. The powerful Beast Emperor was intimidating every time he thought about it. Even if Yi Shiwen was a great sage now, he knew he would be easily defeated in the face of Beast Emperor. Although they said Beast Emperor was dead for countless years with its last spiritual senses shattered on Thousands Demon Beast Island, who knows if there was any backup plan. But for such a distinguished place like Thousands Demon Beast Island, they treated this turmoil seriously as though it was a great threat. It was conceivable how this situation was much more serious than what Yi Shiwen anticipated. But in any case, Yi Shiwen was very happy when he resolved the thread in Yuan Sect and reunited with Wolf Cub again. The duo entered Yuan Sect. Upon seeing Yi Kongming was among the Yuan Sect seniors, they quickly stepped forward to greet each of them. Although Yi Zaiwen's strength was far greater than these people were also his teachers and colleagues of his father. There was no need to make them bear ill feelings because of petty matters. They might not be able to do anything to Yi Shiwen, but it wouldn't do good if they vented on his father. Yi Shiwen followed the seniors and went straight to Yuan Sect's innermost meeting hall. Yi Zaiwen's migration of Yuan Sect still required the consent of many seniors from Yuan Sect. In the meeting hall, all attendees were seated. "Father," Yi Shiwen said, "the situation is too chaotic right now. Anything can happen." Yi Kongming nodded. Although they were far away from true martial school, they still knew the emergent school was about to invade. After all, despite this matter being sudden, the omen was also very obvious. It had been a few years, which was enough to spread the news from true martial school throughout the South region. Just like everyone else, the Yuan Sect was caught off guard by the unexpected emergent school's invasion. There are many masters of emergent school, as well as armored horsemen from South Barbarian. I don't think it will take much longer for the villains in demon-worshipping religion to make some moves. It will be super chaotic, said Yi Shiwen. Hence, I propose a Yuan Sect to move to the outer starry region first to avoid the war. We will only come back when peace returns. Yi Zaiwen's words carried another hidden meaning. If true martial school had no way to calm the situation down, then the Yuan Sect wouldn't come back. Everyone was somewhat agreeable to it in their mind. Yuan Sect was also a subordinate force of true martial school. Emergent school might decide to recruit them or possibly eliminate them. But now emergent school's attitude was not obvious. Everyone had no insights about it. Most importantly, this strategy was to allow them to survive until the war ends. If there was another force like Divine Legion and decided to besiege the Yuan sect like just now, it would most possibly be a complete annihilation for Yuan sect. Yuan sect was fragile. Just a mere great sage, or even a sage master, could eradicate the Yuan sect. They could protect their foundation only during peaceful times. When the chaotic flames of war struck, true martial school wouldn't be able to take care of them. Everyone heard Yi Zaiwen's opinion, and it came to them as a good decision. They did actually think about it. However, the situation in the starry sky was unlike true martial domain. Only the truth master could survive in the starry sky. Furthermore, the most important prerequisite was to not encounter any powerful star beast. Unfortunately, among the hundreds of thousands of Yuan sect disciples, there was a scarcity of truth disciples. Although the presence of Yi Shiwen and Qi Fifan got a lot of resources for Yuan sect from true martial school, the number of truth disciples was only about 1,000 people. Although Yuan sect was much stronger than the past, there were still many people not attaining the truth power realm yet. They had no way to leave unless they threw away their foundation and abandoned hundreds of thousands of disciples. But now if Yi Shiwen played a role in it, it would be different. Yi Zaiwen's strength was clearly in the great sage realm. In the starry sky, Yi Shiwen could sit at the top among the forces stationed with the great sage master. It would be no problem to build up a territory. No matter which star they looked for or which territory they marked, it would be easy without any trouble at all. For Yi Shiwen now, it was not difficult to create a space suitable for human survival, just like Wind Dragon City or the like. The opinions put forward by Yi Shiwen were fully accepted by the crowds in Yuan sect. The entire Yuan sect immediately started its operation. Countless branches of Yuan sect disciples all over the Great Yu Empire began to gather together. All goods that could be carried were brought along. Yi Shiwen would take the entire Yuan sect mountains and move them away. For them, it was unimaginable and godlike ability. For Yi Shiwen, it was something doable. After finalizing some details, Yi Shiwen did not leave but followed Yi Kongming back to his home in Yuan sect. Right now, the Yi family had become a big clan in Yuan sect. Decades had passed. Yuan sect headquarters had also taken root. Mother! Yi Shiwen followed Yi Kongming back to the courtyard. Mother Xia Chuanxue, who had received the news, had already been waiting for him. When she saw Yi Shiwen, she was immediately excited and tears fell. Decades of time did not leave any traces on her face. It was just difficult for her to suppress the excitement to see this young boy who she had not seen for decades. The last time Yi Shiwen came back was decades ago. For such a long time, even her grandchildren had become adults, let alone Yi Shiwen. Although Yi Zaiwen's temperament had long been different from the past, there had been no change in her heart. Yi Shiwen quickly approached and gave his greetings. "You stupid brat finally comes back." Xia Chuanxue was excited and suddenly gave her lecture. In this regard, Yi Shiwen could only give a bitter smile, listening to the mother's lecture. He glanced at the eldest brother, Yi Feng, and the eldest sister-in-law, Sun Yuan. Second sister Yi Rushue had her husband, Qin Yin, a tall and handsome warrior who stood beside her. Yuan sect had undergone major changes when Yi Shiwen last came back, so the wedding had been delayed. Now that decades had passed, they had all married already. Although Yi Rushue was a housewife, she was as naughty as ever. She pulled a comical face as she saw her brother forced to admit defeat in front of her mother. It was just like she returned to the years of her youth decades ago, without much difference. In these decades, their strength had also greatly improved. All of them had basically stepped into half-step legendary. They were also eligible to join True Martial School. However, True Martial School hadn't opened the Mountain Gate yet for many years. With another decade, they could also be among the top experts. Yi Shiwen was supposed to be with them, but Yi Shiwen went to True Martial School one step ahead. Over the past few decades, he had fundamental changes as though he went through a reincarnation, which was naturally completely different from the past. Then, Yi Shiwen moved his gaze to Yi Shu, the book Demon Beast. It had also entered the legendary realm quite early, reaching a point where it never dared to imagine before. At this time, the book Demon Beast looked at Yi Shiwen, who returned with excitement. If there was no Yi Shiwen, it would still live a passive life in the library as a little book demon beast. How could it attain the status right now? With its strength and its relationship with Yi Shiwen, it had long been ranked as supreme elder in Yi Yuan among the sects. Right now, it managed the entire Yi Yuan sect's library. Then, Yi Shiwen glanced at the two juniors, Yi Ning and Yi Ningxuan. Over the past few decades, they had also grown into young masters from the original Little Brat. They had entered the Truth Power realm after becoming the true legatee disciple in Yi Yuan sect. They were labeled geniuses in Yi Yuan sect. They were very talented and stronger than their elder brother and second sister. Plus, with the help of the dragon marrow left by Yi Shiwen, their breakthrough in cultivation was smooth. In the future, their achievements might be higher than that of the elder brother and second sister. The second sister and the second brother-in-law did not bear any children in recent years. Hence, the youngest junior of the Yi family were still these two little brats. At this time, they obediently came to greet Yi Shiwen. On that night, the Yi family had a banquet. Due to its nature being a family banquet, only the Yi family members were present. However, the atmosphere was very lively. It was especially true for Yi Shiwen, who had not returned for decades. He missed his family members a lot. Everyone seemed to have something to say at every moment. Not to mention Wolf Cub was like a jester who livens up the atmosphere of the whole family banquet. After the banquet, Yi Shiwen was called into the study by Yi Kongming. Yi Kongming deities said seriously, "There is one thing which I think I should tell you now." Yi Shiwen was surprised. He sat upright and still on the ground with his ears opened. Although Yi Kongming was unsmiling usually, there were rarely such serious moments. "Actually, you are not my blood-related child. You should already know about it, right?" Yi Kongming looked at Yi Shiwen and said. Yi Shiwen nodded. He was not Yi Kongming's biological son. At that time, many people at Mountain Qingfeng knew about it, let alone Yi Shiwen. It was not a secret. Basically, the whole family knew it. Of course, Yi Shiwen knew that. It was just that he had not come here for so many years, and he almost forgot about it. For him, the parents in this world were Yi Kongming and Xia Chunxue. As for the biological parents whom he had never met, he felt no attachment at all. Although we have been treating you as a biological son over the years, you are still not blood-related in the end, Yi Kongming said. Obviously, he also knew that Yi Shiwen already knew. Originally, I think your talents are mediocre, and your future achievements are limited. For some things, I just want to bury it for a lifetime. Yi Shiwen raised his ears, and he came into a shock deep down his heart. Chapter 748. Chapter 748. Gratitude for giving birth? Gratitude for upbringing. An uncontrollable shiver spread instantly from the heart to the whole body. It was the tension and tremor that came from the depth of the soul. The memories of the predecessor, before Yi Shiwen took over the body, had resurfaced. Now, with the passage of time, Yi Shiwen and the predecessor had become more and more integrated. The understanding of the predecessor's memory was no longer limited to the form of just watching a movie. Rather, the two had fused together. He was his predecessor. There was no difference. The two of them had already integrated into one. Typically, Yi Shiwen would prioritize his own memories, but at certain specific moments, the emotions that were pressed to the bottom of the heart would explode all of a sudden. For example, when it came to the mystery of the predecessor's origin, the sour feeling instantly occupied all of the heart. All of the childhood memories surged into the mind. His predecessor had long known that he was not Yi Kongming and Xia Chunx's biological matter. Although everyone in the family treated him well, he was not the biological son. Sometimes when he saw Yi Ruxue, Yi Kongming, and Xia Chunxue playing around, he would still feel uncomfortable. Although he also wanted to ask about his biological parents, he could not bear to ask every time, fearing that this would ruin this warm family. Yi Kongming never mentioned this matter in front of him, so that even if Yi Shiwen wanted to ask, he had no way to start. However, Yi Kongming finally decided to talk about this matter. "I'm acquainted with your biological father incidentally. At that time, I was in my 20s. I was traveling in the Great Yu Empire, and I met your father and mother unexpectedly. They also seemed to be traveling, seemingly adventuring the world. said Yi Kongming. Yi Shiwen listened quietly. He opened his mouth abruptly and asked, "Can I ask, what kind of people are they?" This was the deepest desire in his heart, hoping to know what kind of person his father and mother were. "Speaking of it, I only know that your father and I have the same surname, Yi. He is named Yi Junshan. This is what brought us together. I just entered Xiantian not long after. Your father and mother were like immortals for me. I can't even identify their cultivation." Yi Kongming smiled a bit bitterly. When he had just stepped into Xiantian, he was spirited and felt that he was number in the world. He did not expect that he was nothing in front of Yi Junshan. He didn't even see through Yi Junshan cultivation from beginning to end. He could only generalize their cultivation in the stage of immortals. Yi Junshan. Yi Shiwen was deeply shocked in his heart. Yi Junshan, this is the name of my biological father. Yi Junshan. This was the first time he heard about his biological parents. We talked a lot. Although your father's cultivation is really high, he is not arrogant. Later, after we said goodbye, I returned to Mountain Qingfeng and married your mother, Yi Kongming whispered. Yi Shiwen knew that the mother he said here was Xia Chunxue, not his biological mother. After another few years, when we all forgot about this matter, your father suddenly found us and brought along you, who was a baby at that time. He asked us to take care of you. Then, he left in a hurry. Yi Kongming continued. A lot of people saw this at the time, so Mountain Qingfeng actually knew that you weren't my own. You have suffered a lot of grievances over the years. You must be desperate to ask it. Yi Shiwen suddenly felt that his nose was itchy, and the tears in his eyes instantly flooded. All the grievances in these years had suddenly flowed into his heart, but Yi Shiwen was not the former young man now. His mood calmed down in just a moment. Do you know why I never talked about it? Because your father seemed like an immortal to me. Even now that I have entered Legendary, I still think your father's cultivation is really profound despite thinking about it currently. At that time, he left in a hurry. Although he didn't say anything, I knew something. He encountered a very difficult matter that might threaten the life of the whole family, so he had to give you up to me. Yi Kongming said, a thing that even your father's cultivation can't cope with. Not to mention for us, it must be very dangerous. Moreover, after that, your father never appeared again. Hence, I think something definitely happens to your father. Yi Kongming slowly speculated. Yi Zaiwen's heart trembled again. When he heard Yi Kongming just now, he had figured out a thing or two. Since Yi Junshan handed him over to Yi Kongming to raise him, then something must have happened to him since he did not come back after so many years have passed. Otherwise, the situation would not end up like this. But when Yi Kongming finally heard this, he still felt very uncomfortable. Your talent seemed mediocre in the past. Xiantian seems to be your final stop, so I plan to bring this secret into the coffin and never tell you in my life. Although it is cruel to you, your father must hope that you can live a good life. Even if I tell you, nothing can be solved. Yi Kongming said, I never thought that you are his son no matter what. You even completely surpass us old guys and become famous. You also reached the cultivation of the great sage realm. Your future is even more limitless. I think I can no longer hide some things from you like this. You have the right to know your father's matter. If you have the ability in the future, it will be great if you can find your parents. Are there any clues left by them? Yi Shiwen asked. If he only knew that his biological father was called Yi Junshan, then it would be tantamount to finding a needle in the sea. Under the sky, there were trillions of human beings. Not to mention, there would be duplicate names. If Yi Shiwen wanted to find a person with only names, it would be better off for him to just give up. Your father didn't say anything, but just left a jade pendant. He only said if you can find Qishan one day, then naturally you can find him with this jade pendant. Yi Kongming grabbed a jade pendant from Void and handed it to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen took the jade. It was as big as a palm. Its whole body was green and round, but it was just 1 finger thick. There was an unknown vicious beast carved in the center of the jade. Although it was only a jade carving, it was seemingly alive. Yi Shiwen glanced at it, and almost felt like a vicious beast rushed into his mind. Yi Shiwen only felt that an inexplicable force suddenly boiled all over the body. Boom! The qi in Yi Zaiwen's body was as though it had been invaded. In reflex, they formed a barrier. The mini-universe in Yi Zaiwen's dantian shone with unimaginable light. It instantly suppressed this inexplicable power down. Just a moment later, the power retreated into Yi Zaiwen's body. Yi Shiwen was drenched with cold sweat all of a sudden. The uncontrollable power just now scared him, and he didn't know where it came from. He never felt this power before. It felt enormous and boundless. Yi Shiwen scanned the whole body with his spiritual senses again, but never found the sudden burst of energy just now, as if the incident had never appeared. Is that just an illusion? No, this is definitely not an illusion. Yi Shiwen could feel that the power just now had completely overwhelmed him. Although it was violent, it felt very dear, which gave off a tender vibe later on. Hence, it should not hurt Yi Shiwen in any way. Since Yi Shiwen couldn't identify it further, he could only put down the idea of finding the energy source. It was really not suitable to pursue this matter at this time. Fortunately, Yi Shiwen could sense that the energy had no intention of hurting him. With that, Yi Shiwen put this matter aside. Little one, what's wrong? Yi Kongming asked with concern. The changes in Yi Zaiwen's body were too fast just now. Yi Kongming could only feel a terrible power explode in Yi Zaiwen's body for a moment, but he didn't know what happened. Moreover, he also did not know that the power disappeared in an instant, rendering him even more puzzled. It's okay. It's fine, Yi Shiwen said reluctantly with a smile, but he had more doubts in his heart. He made up his mind and wanted to find Yimo later on. Yimo was a knowledgeable old monster. He could have it to help identify the origin of this jade pendant, and also how could it suddenly awaken the energy in his body that was never noticed. On this kind of problem, Yi Zaiwen's lack of knowledge was the greatest weakness. This kind of knowledge and insights needed time to accumulate. It was completely irrelevant to the increment in strength. Fortunately, Yi Shiwen was always accompanied by a well-informed and knowledgeable Yimo. With its reminder, Yi Shiwen would not miss many adventures. Hey, this thing may stimulate your cultivation, Yi Kongming said, seeing Yi Zaiwen's down mood. He thought Yi Shiwen acted as such right now because of his biological parent's story. With that, Yi Kongming felt concerned in his heart. No matter Yi Zaiwen's origin, he had long regarded Yi Shiwen as his own son. Father, I'm fine. Whether I'm your own or not, you and my mother are my eternal parents in my heart. Your kindness in my upbringing will never be forgotten. Yi Shiwen stood up, cupped his hand, and said. Regardless of who his biological parents were, Yi Kongming and Xia Chuanxue, who raised him, were far from important in his heart. They said blood is thicker than water. However, Yi Kongming and Xia Chuanxue were of utmost importance in Yi Zaiwen's heart. Okay, Yi Kongming said happily. Your mother will be happy knowing that you resolves the knot in your heart. Chapter 749. Chapter 749. Life and Death Battle in an Independent Small Yard. Yi Shiwen held the jade pendant that Yi Kongming had given him in his hand. He played with the jade pendant in his hand, while feeling the warmth of it in his grasp. It was a natural warmth that was distinctive with body heat. Only a jade pendant like this could offer such soothing power. Yi Shiwen could feel that the jade pendant was circulating a warm power in his body. Even you can't identify the origin of this pendant? Yi Shiwen asked. Beside him, Yimo stood on his shoulders, frowning and shaking his head. I don't have any clue. If it is from demon domain, there is very little that can hide from me. However, if it is not something from demon domain, then I'm certain that your father should not be a normal person. Chishan, isn't that in ancient barrens? The wolf cub beside him, which nestled in the corner, opened his eyes lazily and said slowly, You know something about it? Yi Shiwen turned to look at wolf cub. Ancient barrens. Where is that place? Yimo on the side was also surprised. Ancient barrens. How is it possible? You all know the place? Yi Shiwen turned to the two. Where is ancient barrens? If it's really from there, then you should stop thinking about your biological father. At least in a short amount of time, Yimo said with a bitter smile. I'm not very familiar with that place. Demon domain's dwellers have never entered ancient barrens. The understanding of ancient barons is naturally not as good as the Beast Clan. The so-called ancient barons are the origin of all universes, the highest point of all planes. It is a vast expanse of continent. Almost all kinds of clans can be found in it. It is also the origin of all kinds of clans. All the clan groups who want to dominate the world would stage their battleground there. Yemo chatted a few words and outlined the place as a barren land stage for warfare. How to go to ancient barons? Yi Shiwen was faintly excited. Under this starry sky, he felt that he had almost reached the top. Although he had just stepped into the Great Sage, he could feel that the Great Sage Realm was far from peak. For elite warriors, the Great Sage Realm was just the beginning. Those who were more informed were merely transcendent realm warriors, and they seemed to hide themselves in the dark more often. According to Yemo, their strength was not outstanding among the transcendent realm warriors. Not to mention the terrible masters in the demon domain whom he knew. Yi Shiwen originally planned to enter the demon domain after reaching transcendent realm, continue to fight, and continue to improve his strength. For him, this was the only thing that could interest him. Decades had passed. Even his parents on Earth should die of old age already. Yi Shiwen did not have the strong feeling about returning to the Earth again. Climbing the martial arts peak had become the biggest pursuit of his life. He wanted to reach the peak, constantly defeating stronger enemies. For him, he had demon skills. With the help of aura convergence martial art, it would not be a problem to disguise as Demon Clan. But now Yemo's words had opened another stage for him. Maybe he did not need to go to Demon Domain, but could get stronger at the Ancient Barons continent. At present, this starry sky does not have a path that leads to the Ancient Barons continent. It seems to be sealed, so I did not mention it to you. I originally wanted you to visit the Demon Domain after you enter the Transcendent Realm. Then, you can reach the Ancient Barons continent with a passage in the Demon Domain. Yemo said. He originally sought to nurture Yi Shiwen into a Demon King. But no matter what he said, Yi Shiwen was unmoved. Yemo could only give up. Although this starry sky had no way to visit the Ancient Barons mainland, Yi Shiwen was not disappointed. Anyway, it seemed viable to access Ancient Barons via Demon Domain's passage too. Yi Shiwen seemed to have a further grasp on the situation. No wonder I have never heard about the Ancient Barons continent. I've been in an unreceptive place for too long, so I do not have much knowledge. Luckily, I have Wolf Club with a mysterious origin and an old monster like Yemo. They are my only access to knowledge. Yi Shiwen held the jade pendant in his hand, and he became more and more resolute. No matter if it was to search for his biological parents or to accomplish his dream in improving himself, he had to visit the Ancient Barons continent. Of course, this was not for now. The true martial school's crisis was not over yet. His strength was inadequate too. He had to wait until Star Beast Avatar attained Transcendent Realm. There might have deities in Ancient Barons continent. This dazzled Yi Shiwen even more. If there were deities, then they must be on the Ancient Barons. After having a goal, Yi Shiwen was more motivated. He did not want to delay further. 3 days later, the Yuan sect had sorted out the logistics for migration. Every member and branches scattered around the world had united in the main headquarters. To further avoid any accidents, Yi Shiwen did not hesitate and directly utilized his power to lift up the entire Yuan sect mountains. The original position of the Yuan sect mountains seemed to be missing a huge place. Of course, although Yi Shiwen was extraordinary in strength, he could not take the entire Yuan sect mountains into the universe. He had no such capability, nor was he the legends who could move mountains and fill the sea. But it would not be a problem to put them in Tianyuan Mirror. After putting Yuan sect mountains in Tianyuan Mirror, Yi Shiwen flew directly into the starry sky. He found a lone star, put Yuan sect mountains on it, and placed arrays to stabilize Yuan sect mountains. There were so many remote and unpopulated planets in the cosmic sky, but many environments were very harsh. They were not suitable for human survival. However, this was not a difficult issue for Yi Shiwen to tackle. It was entirely possible to modify the climate in a small area. The spiritual veins were buried one by one. Terraforming was under progress. When it was all done, it was already 10 days later. After everything was settled, Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub would no longer stay in Yuan sect, but rushed back to the true martial domain directly. Now the true martial domain was still in turmoil. The situation was not alleviated despite 10 days having passed. On the contrary, the warfare became more intense. In just 10 days or so, Emergent School had accelerated the siege on true martial school. The flames of war extended to many places, including the South region. Demon-worshipping religion, South barbarians, iron-armored horsemen. Both of them stirred up chaos everywhere. Yi Shiwen did not return to true martial school. On the contrary, he chose to stay outside because he could not play a key role in the direct confrontation between true martial school and emergent school. In such a collision, only Transcendent Realm warriors had ways to protect themselves. Those who were not Transcendent Realm would be easily crushed into fragments in every battle. The situation was chaotic. On the third day, Yi Shiwen had already met with Star Beast Avatar, who had rushed from true martial school. Yi Shiwen still didn't want to expose his avatar. After all, Star Beast Avatar was his secret weapon. If he had the option, he would never expose it. Trump cards were the lost technique reserved for the critical moment. It could not be exposed until the last moment. Yi Shiwen had used Star Beast Avatar more than once. However, in reality, no one knew Yi Shiwen's trick. Deep in the South region, Yi Shiwen looked up to the direction of true martial school. At a faraway place his gaze crossed upon, dark clouds covered the sky. In the depths of the 5 clouds, emergent school masters crowded the area. There were multiple light rays under their feet. From a distance, it was like a formation of a dark cloud. The Tao soldiers of emergent school were desperately attacking true martial school. Various tyrannical characters appeared in it. On the true martial school side, countless arrays were activated due to the invasion of emergent school. Although the overall strength was much weaker than emergent school, they did not suffer a lower ground with the defense of the arrays. Various distinguished figures were among them too. From time to time, the masters of Transcendent Realm confront each other either in the sky or in the universe. This large-scale warfare would shake its audience to the core. At this time, true martial school embodied the deep background behind the supreme ruler of true martial domain. Innumerable arrays were launched. Divine lights were blasted out, penetrating heaven and earth. The horizon was brightly lit. Countless masters of emergent school and Tao soldiers were penetrated by these divine light and turned into dust. True martial school had passed the years of constant fighting for a long time. It had been many years that it had not experienced such a fight right at their front door. However, it did not mean that they had no ways to counterattack at all. Even the disciples of true martial school grew stronger after many years of fighting. True martial school displayed no weakness in their war. They were even better than the masters of emergent school. Although emergent school was the boss in emergence domain, which provided them a lot of talents and massive resources, the competition among them was much smaller. Their man count was superior than true martial school, but their individual fighting power was unmatched to true martial school. Since true martial school decided to go all out, the order to hunt had commenced. Those who hunted any disciple of emergent school would gain a lot of merit points. True martial school merit points were not easily earned normally. Now that true martial school granted open access to the treasury, anything was redeemable with enough merit points. Everyone gave all they had in the warfare. It was a life and death battle for everyone. Chapter 750. Chapter 750. Another encounter with Soul Destruction Temple Master many times in true martial school. Corresponding items were not simply redeemable with merit points. There were quite a few criteria for certain items. It was not something one could redeem as they pleased. There were many other factors like the person's status and the person's credit to true martial school. Now these constraining systems were gone. As long as the person had enough points, the person could exchange for anything. The method of obtaining points was also very simple. That was to kill the disciples of emergent school. Under the temptation of these points, the disciples of true martial school worked hard and were not afraid of death. They were very clear that everything they had now was backed by the true martial school. If true martial school collapsed, then it would be the end for them too. There was no way for the emergent school to spare them. For remote affiliates such as Yuan sect, emergent school might still recruit them. However, for the genuine disciples of these emergent schools, the emergent school would not let them go. Those who were lucky might be able to escape, but it would halt their cultivation progress in life. Hence, the true martial school's disciples did not have many options. Either way, they would need to go for war. Rather than sit idly, it was better to fight with all they could. Moreover, killing an emergent school's disciple had many benefits. In this case, the disciples of true martial school were fighting bravely. The passage of time did not stop. 3 months had passed already. During these 3 months, Yi Shiwen was constantly fighting in the south region and constantly killing the south barbarians, iron-armored horsemen, and demon-worshipping religion. The organizations emerged when true martial school was in trouble. These people only wanted the world in chaos. The places they would pillage would be villages. Sometimes, the entire village or city would be slaughtered with no life remaining. The demon-worshipping religion was even eager to kill humans to summon the demon clan. The South Barbarian wasn't indifferent to the death of innocent people too. They are here to fight for living space. Among them, there were countless tribes starved for living spaces. The more people die, the easier it would be for the tribe to migrate over. And these people were Yi Ziwen's enemies and targets. They would not care about the death of ordinary people, but true martial school must care. These people were the foundation of true martial school. If they were all dead, then no matter how powerful true martial school was, they would need to face the issue of lacking a generation of successors. Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub's cooperation made them invincible. Although there were many masters in the South Barbarian and demon-worshipping religion, including in the Great Sage realm, they had no way to contend with Yi Shiwen. Even once, Yi Shiwen met a master of Great Sage, Great Mastery. However, Yi Ziwen's Star Beast avatar killed the person in the end. Yi Shiwen also became famous in the South region because of this. There were many true martial school disciples like Yi Shiwen who were wandering outside to hunt down the South Barbarian and demon-worshipping religion. However, these reputations were quickly submerged in the warfare involving true martial school. At this moment, the battle between true martial school and emergent school concerned the entire true martial domain the most. Luckily, other forces in the entire true martial domain did not kick true martial school when it was down. They just sit idly by. It was not that they were so kind. For true martial school, it already felt like a knife at the throat. They would be pleased if true martial school were to be eliminated. However, even after facing their joint attack, true martial school was still as strong as ever. This time, it should have been an unprecedented opportunity. Even if true martial school finally won, the true martial school should suffer their besiegement again. But this time it was different. These forces also felt the immediate threat. In the past, no matter how they resisted, it was still an inner battle within the true martial domain in the end. The biggest factor was that true martial school did not eliminate them despite being quite dominant. Also, when these forces joined together, they were only able to protect themselves. So no matter how they fight internally, at least they could protect themselves and there was no worry of annihilation. However, these outsiders would be different. True martial school was so powerful that it could only occupy the South region among the 5 regions and 4 wilderness. But these outsiders were huge monsters that occupied the whole world. They were more surly and unreasoning than true martial school. The news in regards to emergent school waging a war had spread among many forces outside this domain. Many forces wanted to invade the true martial domain too. It was impossible for so many forces to share true martial domain. In other words, even if true martial school was destroyed, they would have no benefit because a stronger opponent than true martial school would appear in the South region. Most importantly, if emergent school succeeded, the other forces outside the domain would really suffer. During this period of time, seeing the miserable situation of true martial school when they were fighting against the invasion of emergent school, the outside forces were already worried. Although it seemed that true martial school had no signs of not collapsing it now, they could only contend with emergent school with arrays. It was hard to imagine how much price the true martial school had paid. All the spies sent were updating with the numbers of masters killed and injured. Hence, these outside forces were quite self-aware. They did consider if this did not happen to true martial school, but happened to them. They did not have a strong background like true martial school. God knows if they could stand strong for how many days. So even if they saw that true martial school suffered heavy losses, they were not as happy as they thought. Bang! Yi Shiwen bombarded a punch onto the barbaric clan army. Thousands of barbarian clan troops collapsed in his hands. This army was all composed of legendary masters. They were so vulnerable in Yi Zaiwen's hand. This might be the most elite force of a tribe, but it collapsed in the hands of Yi Shiwen. If not, they could possibly wipe out an empire or even the south region. In the southern wilderness, each tribe was a small kingdom. Although there was a transcendent power above them, they had a relatively strong fighting force in general. The masters were stationed in the tribe. This was because among the 100,000 South Barbarian Mountains, many barbaric beasts were living there. They might invade the tribe at any time, so there were many masters left in their tribe. But it was different in the south region. Although there were a lot of dangers, it was much more optimal than South Wilderness. Hence, many masters were concentrated in true martial school. Therefore, the army defeated by Yi Shiwen might be the most elite force of a large tribe. After losing, the security of the tribe would be in jeopardy, but this was not within Yi Zaiwen's concern. Yi Shiwen, ha? God bless me. Unexpectedly, I get to see you here. Suddenly, a rough roar came from a distance. Immediately afterward, a figure flew over and arrived. He was a big person with a long beard. His gaze was fierce, and he stared at Yi Shiwen with his eyes full of hatred. Terrifying demon aura overflowed. Nyehan! Yi Shiwen uttered the name in his mouth. The person in front of him was no other than the person who pursued him for innumerable miles from the Wind Dragon Star to the true martial school. It was the demon-worshipping religion soul destruction temple master, Nyehan. Yi Shiwen had a deep impression with the soul destruction temple master in front of him. At that time, he almost died. If he did not successfully go inside the true martial school, his life would already be repealed by this guy. How could Yi Shiwen not remember someone like him? Yi Shiwen became fully alerted. A great sage, great mastery master was definitely a terrible character. But now he was not the same weakling. In the past few months, Yi Shiwen had already consolidated his cultivation as Great Sage Intermediate. With his constant fighting, the realm had quickly stabilized. The process could be considered extremely fast. Yi Shiwen right now was capable of contending against Great Sage Minor Mastery or even straight up defeating those in that caliber. Among the masters of the Great Sage Minor Mastery, Yi Shiwen was at the top. At this time, when he encounters Great Sage Great Mastery, he would not be helpless with no ways to fight back. Yi Shiwen could afford to exchange blows. Most importantly, Yi Shiwen had his Star Beast avatar. He had the chance to deliver a one-hit kill too. The hatred of getting pursued, the scores would need to be settled. It really takes no effort. As long as I can kill you, then everything lost can be compensated. You will die in my hands. Nyehan sneered and immediately threw a fist. This fist evolved into a monstrous demon hand and swooshed down. The skies seemingly crumbled. The terrifying Great Sage aura locked on Yi Shiwen, cutting all of his routes to escape. Even the space locked in an instant whereby flicker was not even allowed. Feeling the immense power, Yi Shiwen was not surprised but rejoiced. He laughed aloud. It's true that evildoers dig their own graves. Nyehan, today is your death. Let me personally send you to the afterlife. Yi Shiwen could clearly feel that the power Nyehan mustered was not in Great Sage Great Mastery, but Great Sage Minor Mastery. Find out what happens next by getting early access to chapters with. Chapter 751. Chapter 751. An eye for an eye. Yi Shiwen was pleasantly surprised by this discovery. It turned out that Soul Destruction Temple Master Nyehan was not in the realm of Great Sage Great Mastery, but in the realm of Great Sage Minor Mastery. He was overjoyed at the turn of events. He initially thought he had to mobilize Star Beast Avatar to suppress Nyehan. But since Nyehan was just at the Great Sage Minor Mastery realm, then the situation was completely different. Yi Shiwen could cope with it easily. Although Yi Shiwen had some doubts in his heart whereby Nyehan was in Great Sage Great Mastery during the previous encounter, he knew he would not make a mistake in his senses. Since Nyehan was definitely at the strength of Great Sage Great Mastery during the last encounter, then there was only one possibility. He was critically injured by the Supreme School Master when he broke into the True Martial School by mistake. Although the injury was healed, it also left some ramifications. Moreover, Yi Shiwen remembered that Nyehan used some of his secret technique last time too. But even so, despite him degrading from the realm of Great Sage Great Mastery, Nyehan was still stronger among Great Sage Minor Mastery warriors. He should be able to eliminate a Great Sage Minor Mastery in ease. Hence, he was practically invincible in this realm. Any ordinary person would be unmatched even if he also attained a Great Sage Minor Mastery. Only a talent like Yi Shiwen, who was also a freak, would not be intimidated by him. Yi Zaiwen's golden wings spread in an instant. His figure was like lightning, avoiding this sudden attack swiftly. Your strength is far less powerful than the last time, Yi Shiwen sneered. Although Nyehan was a little surprised by the improvement of Yi Zaiwen's strength, he was still indifferent about it. After all, in his opinion, Yi Zaiwen's speed was already ridiculously fast to begin with. When Yi Shiwen was just a half-step Great Sage, Yi Shiwen was able to escape from his pursuit. This made him rejoice for no reason despite the heavy costs that came along. Yi Shiwen didn't launch any attack, but only showcased his speed. Nyehan was indifferent about it and was not alerted. "It's all because of you, little brat." As soon as he said this, Nyehan's eyes were fuming with anger. He ended up in this state because of Yi Shiwen. He gave it all and utilized his secret technique to improve his strength to launch an all-out attack. But it had only critically injured Yi Shiwen. In the end, he was struck by the Supreme School Master of True Martial School, plus the secret technique of ramifications, which directly left an internal injury that was difficult to cure. Although Nyehan did recover from the injury, his strength fell all the way from Great Sage Great Mastery to Great Sage Minor Mastery. Moreover, this injury was permanent. It would be difficult to escalate into the next realm. His decline in strength had directly caused many of his men in Soul Destruction Temple to be tempted to make a move. After all, in demon-worshipping religion, they only talked about interest. All of them were bound by interests. Loyalty and respect were all bullshit for them. Without the deterrent of tyrannical strength, Nyehan's position as a temple master became precarious. Many of his henchmen wanted to overthrow his temple master. Nyehan thought Yi Shiwen died in his hands. In this case, although he paid a heavier price, it was fine and worth it. But little did he know that Yi Shiwen did not die. Instead, he was alive and kicking. This made his original plan ruined. He originally thought that as long as he could kill Yi Shiwen, even if he paid a little more price, but by virtue of the merits, he could gain personal empowerment from the masters in the demon domain. With that, he had great hope to break through into the transcendent realm. Those underlings who had ill intentions could be easily killed. They dared not resist his rule. With that, he could bring Soul Destruction Temple to an unprecedented higher level, which the previous rulers had never achieved. Moreover, he would be able to contend and be on an equal level with the other 10 main temples. But all of these were gone. Yi Shiwen hadn't died. It was naturally impossible for him to get the empowerment from the masters in Demon Domain. If the news of death did not come out in a day, then Nyehan had no proof. There was no way to confirm his words. So Nyehan could only spend all his net worth and finally heal the injuries on his body. However, only the apparent injuries were healed. There was no way to heal those internal injuries. All his efforts in meeting various healing masters were also futile. It would be impossible for him to enter the next realm in his lifetime unless the senior level in Demon Domain empowered him. Only with that, he would be able to repair the internal injury in his body and had further possibilities to be promoted in cultivation in the future. This made him helpless and frustrated. He just took advantage of this time when Emergent School invaded True Martial School and came to find the trouble of True Martial School. In his view, he would be reduced to this because of True Martial School. If there was no True Martial School, how could he end this way? Nothing is impossible for a willing heart. There's always a way out. He actually encountered Yi Shiwen here. As long as Nyehan could capture Yi Shiwen, he would definitely be able to be personally empowered by the masters of Demon Domain. By that time, his future would be bright. When one door shuts, another opens. If it's not you, how would I end up like this? It doesn't matter. As long as I slay or capture you, then I will be able to get what I want. My future is boundless. Yi Shiwen, use your head to lay the foundation for my glorious and invincible road. Nyehan growled, almost turning the world upside down. With that said, Nyehan suddenly launched another attack again. His attack was stronger than just now. A demon hand covering the sky suddenly appeared. It grabbed toward Yi Shiwen in an instant. This attack was much more powerful than before. Obviously, Nyehan wanted to kill Yi Shiwen in a single blow without giving him any chance to breathe. Old hag, didn't I already say I will definitely let you die without a burial place if I were to meet you again? Recalling the tragic situation during the last pursuit, Yi Zaiwen's heart was burning with rage. With the anger flickering in his eyes, Yi Shiwen did not evade the attack, but delivered his sky-collapsing fire cloud hand. Boom! The two overwhelming big hands met in the sky. Both sides were distinguished figures with terrible skills. As they suddenly ran into each other, a terrifying explosion swept up on the spot. The terrible air shockwave instantly flushed the surroundings. The two combat powers had reached a level beyond Great Sage Minor Mastery. It was unimaginable. Even Great Sage Great Mastery could not take it lightly. Impossible. How could you be so powerful? Nyehan only felt that his arms were numbing, and he simply found it inexplicable. Nyehan couldn't believe that the situation had developed into this. His memory still stayed when he last hunted down Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen had become so strong only in a few years. The last time that Yi Shiwen was chased by him, he was so desperate. If he did not escape into True Martial School, he would most likely die in Nyehan's hand. However, he could fight with Nyehan without losing any advantage. Nyehan simply found the situation simply impossible. How can he make such great progress? Thinking of this, sinister thoughts overwhelmed his heart. He was not only seriously injured but dropped in the cultivation realm due to Yi Shiwen. Despite being invulnerable in the Great Sage Minor Mastery realm, he was far from comparable when he was Great Sage Great Mastery at that time. Even at that time, he was regarded as a person who could run rampant among Great Sage Great Mastery. Otherwise, he could not lead the Soul Destruction Temple with only Great Sage Great Mastery. After all, although Soul Destruction Temple's strength could only be considered the bottom of the demon-worshipping religion 99 Temple, it was still extremely impressive. But when he was injured and his skill regressed, Yi Shiwen actually made great progress. Isn't that the same as hitting his face in public? What did he do so desperately previously to kill Yi Shiwen was seemingly a joke now. Damn you little brat. Die! Nyehan screamed. His big hands swooshed down. The entire arena was filled with the crying of ghosts and chilly wind. A huge demon foot stretched out from the center of the palm and stepped towards Yi Shiwen. How is that a foot? It seems like a claw, full of scales. Each finger of the claws is like a sturdy pillar that can kill a mountain on the spot. Chong! Yi Zaiwen's sword chi surged in an instant. Every pore on his body was spitting out the sword chi. These sword chis gathered in the air and formed a terrifying giant sword. It slashed directly towards the giant claw. Boom! It was another sound of a huge explosion. Yi Zaiwen's long sword seemed to be chopped on a piece of metal. Even metal clanking sounds were made. Sparks were scattered. However, Yi Shiwen increased his grasp. The sword chi in the long sword was seemingly stimulated. Countless elixir in Tianyuan mirror was converted into spiritual energy and infused into the long sword. Boom! In a huge vibration, the big foot was slashed open by Yi Zaiwen's sword. A mutilated demon foot fell from the sky and created a huge dent on the ground. Demon blood flowed out and directly polluted the countless land around it. From then on, normal plants could no longer grow, but only contaminated demon aura plants could grow. Roar! There was a sharp roar coming from the demonic hand. Obviously, this demon foot should be the foot of the demon summoned by Nie Han out of nowhere. It wanted to kill Yi Shiwen, but it was chopped down by Yi Shiwen. Chapter 752. Chapter 752. Severe injury. Boom. 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 A loud thud rumbled in the sky. The shock wave from the confrontation rippled out. Many mountains around Tianyu were shattered. They were incapable of facing Nie Han, who was in the Great Sage Minor Mastery Power Realm. Despite Yi Shiwen proclaimed himself at the top of this realm and did not put those in Great Sage Minor Mastery in his eyes, he still played safe at the start. After all, as compared to a decent Great Sage Minor Mastery Realm Master, Yi Shiwen entered the Great Sage Intermediate just recently. But the Nie Han in front of him was not an ordinary Great Sage Minor Mastery, but he descended from the Great Sage Great Mastery peak. Even an ordinary Great Sage Great Mastery Master probably could not really do anything to him. Yi Shiwen was indeed strong, but he would still struggle in confronting such an enemy. Each blow coming from Nie Han that struck Yi Shiwen was like consolidating his foundation, making his realm more stable and more powerful. Yi Shiwen had the tyrant body as a foundation. It was difficult for Nie Han's attack to cause a fatal threat to Yi Shiwen. Coupled with the Phoenix regeneration technique, the general injury could be recovered in an instant. With that, Yi Shiwen could utilize Nie Han's attack to hone himself. Any ordinary person should suffer greatly, even if he was also in the Great Sage Minor Mastery realm. Only Yi Shiwen could achieve this feat as Yi Zaiwen's strength increased gradually. His battle became more and more relaxed, and he gradually captured the initiative in the battle. Seeing that he failed to defeat Yi Shiwen in an instant, Nie Han gradually began to be anxious. There was a flash of anxiety in his eyes. "Ha! Soul Destruction Temple Master. Do you even live up to that title? No wonder Soul Destruction Temple is only the bottom of the demon-worshipping religion 99 temple. All of it is because of you. What a pit for them." Yi Shiwen attacked Nie Han viciously with words. This Nie Han was also battle-hardened. He who grew up in the demon-worshipping religion definitely had more experience than Yi Shiwen. Despite Yi Shiwen having his strength improved at every second while consolidating his foundation at the same time, would he really be able to reach the peak and overwhelm Nie Han? It should be extremely difficult. After all, Nie Han could already be regarded as a benchmark in the Great Sage Minor Mastery realm. The only way to be stronger than Nie Han was to attain Great Sage Great Mastery. So Yi Shiwen utilized all the means he could muster to attack Nie Han. "You're courting death." Nie Han finally couldn't bear it and became angry. Soul Destruction Temple ranking had always been the soft spot in his heart. He was superior among thousands of demon-worshipping religion members. As someone who had reached this stage, Nie Han was talented. He definitely had many fruitful adventures. Of course, he was quite ambitious, wanting to strive to the top. Crudely speaking, he would prefer to be a big fish in a small pond rather than a small fish in a big pond. Furthermore, if he had the chance to be outstanding among the distinguished figures, the big pond, so to speak, he would definitely appreciate it. However, due to Yi Shiwen, not only did he lose the chance to become outstanding among the distinguished figures, he even lost the chance to be a minute character among the distinguished figures. In the end, he was more probable to only be a small leader of a weak crowd. No matter how bad the situation was, being a small fish in the big pond still had its benefits. The status associated with that definitely outmatched being a small leader of a weak crowd. Demonic flames surged from Nie Han's figure, instantly engulfing the sky. Behind him, a demonic figure appeared faintly. It manifested a big hand and bombarded toward Yi Shiwen again. Niehan cultivated in a soul-destruction temple martial art. A martial art that only temple masters could get their hands on, soul-destruction demonic scripture. Despite it not being the strongest among many arts in demon-worshipping religion, it was enough to rank in the top 100. Although it was only in the top 100, its strength could not be belittled since the ranking came from hundreds of thousands of demon-worshipping religion martial arts. Almost at the moment when the demonic figure appeared, the attack already rushed to Yi Zaiwen's face. It almost ignored the distance of the space. The terrifying demon aura locked on Yi Shiwen firmly. It gave Yi Shiwen the feeling no matter how far he fled, he would still be targeted. A strange illusion that he would not be able to escape at all. This was Niehan's full strength. The last time he chased down Yi Shiwen was nothing but a half-step great sage. In the pursuit, there was no other way but to escape. There was no way for Yi Shiwen to retaliate. Naturally, Niehan did not have the idea of going all out to deal with Yi Shiwen. But the situation was different. Yi Shiwen had exhibited a great threat. Not only Yi Zaiwen's presence put Niehan at shame, this was the only opportunity for him to improve his status into a distinguished figure. He had to kill Yi Shiwen no matter what. With that, all the prices he had paid would be rewarded. Hence, he delivered an attack with all his strength. Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash. As the terrifying big hand came crashing down from the sky, it became cross-shaped. Even though it was not in the Great Sage Great Mastery realm, but just Great Sage Minor Mastery, it should not be underestimated. Yi Shiwen threw a punch which manifested a big star and directly confronted the Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash. As he threw his punch, it had seemingly materialized the galaxy. Yi Shiwen had indeed gone all out without any reservation in this punch. Boom! Yi Shiwen could feel that there was boundless force bombarding him from the Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash. Even his tyrant body was shivering, and his bones were making a metal clanking symphony when the attack collided with his body. The general physical body would crumble in Niehan's attack. Soul Destruction Temple Master's strength was indeed extraordinary. But Yi Shiwen did not make Niehan feel any better. Niehan retreated all the way with his face pale. The shockwave in the exchange of blows did pull a huge toll on Niehan's physique. That's all you got. If I were you, I would choose to hide. Now your strength is nothing more than last time. God knows when you will be beheaded. Yi Shiwen laughed out loud. Niehan's face stiffened, thinking of the possibility that Yi Shiwen said. Despite him being resolute most of the time, he felt his heart tremble. If that was true, he had no say to his survival. Demon-worshipping religion had all kinds of means and torture. If he was ousted from the throne of Temple Master, there must be someone who wanted to replace him as the Soul Destruction Temple Master. Niehan quickly reclaimed his thoughts with a cruel voice on his face. If you want to shake my determination, it is impossible. Niehan actually reacted. Yi Shiwen deliberately used words to upset Niehan and crumble his resolve. With that, Yi Shiwen only had the chance to defeat Niehan in one fell swoop. It was quite a vicious means to tackle someone's psychology. When Niehan thought of this, he calmed down immediately. Although he was still very angry at Yi Shiwen, this anger stopped affecting his judgment. Niehan was after all battle-hardened. He could definitely see through the trap, hence the effectiveness was not great. On cunningness, I have not seen a junior like you. On talent, you can cultivate from half-step Great Sage all the way to Great Sage Intermediate in a short period of time. I am unheard of such talent. Perhaps your achievements in the future will be limitless. However, it does not matter. As long as you are beheaded, then everything will be over. Niehan said with a sneer. The Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash was once again issued. This time, it was even more terrifying than how it was previously. Niehan's strength was fully demonstrated. It was much more tyrannical than just now. The entire Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash shone brightly in the sky. Even heaven and earth were seemingly cut into 4 petals. Yi Zaiwen's body was immediately covered with layers of golden divinity. From a distance, he looked like a battle god in gold casting. His figure rushed into the demon hand that covered the sky. At the same time, Tinyuan mirror on him also exuded an unimaginable blood-red light as it accompanied Yi Shiwen and rushed towards the big hand. A huge cracking sound blasted. It sounded like a piece of cloth torn in half in the sky. The soul destruction cross-shaped slash was torn in half by the blood-red light on Yi Shiwen. The golden divinity on his body seemed to be boiling, countering the power from the soul destruction cross-shaped slash. As the golden divinity flowed continuously on Yi Ziwen's body, the aftermath of the confrontation was unloaded. It was the gilded tyrant form, and those blood light instantly tore the soul destruction cross-shaped slash. What? Nyehan was taken aback. Yi Ziwen's power was so unparalleled, but Nyehan simply ran out of time to think further. It was because Yi Shiwen had already rushed in front of him. Throughout the battle, it was Nyehan holding the initiative to attack. Yi Shiwen was constantly defending and shielding off his attack. Now that Yi Shiwen was actively attacking him, he was immediately shocked and angry. He could feel Yi Shiwen was making continuous progress. Such progress shocked him. He could also see that Yi Shiwen was slowly adapting to his rhythm. When Yi Shiwen decided to take the initiative to attack, it hinted that Yi Shiwen was confident to defeat him. This put him into shame, which escalated into anger. Yi Shiwen was like a sword as he broke the vast sky. In Tianyuan Mirror, 100 million elixir was burned in one breath, all of which was instilled into Yi Ziwen's body. Yi Ziwen's strength was already terrifying. Not to mention the help of this sudden 100 million elixir, it pushed him beyond the limit, allowing him to rush to Nyehan in an instant. Boom! Yi Shiwen struck Nyehan like a sharp sword, as if Mars hit the earth. Nyehan suffered a severe injury. His body was terribly mangled on the spot. Nyehan flew out in a distance amidst his agonizing scream. Yi Ziwen's tackle almost took his life. Chapter 753. Chapter 753. Kill Nyehan. Yi Shiwen devoted a lot to this attack. He knew if he were to launch an attack, he had to make it count. If he were to continue the fight with Nyehan in his current strength, it would be a loss for both sides in the end. Hence, this was the only way. Yi Shiwen devoted a lot to the attack and hit him hard. He would want to set the balance of victory toward his side. Although it consumed 100 million elixirs, Yi Shiwen wasn't hesitant with it. For him, if 100 million elixirs could be exchanged for Nyehan's life, it was still worth it. Yi Shiwen would never give Nyehan any time to escape. He dashed out and caught up instantly, taking advantage of Nyehan's weak state to kill him. You heard me? How is that possible? Nyehan growled with his face turned ugly. Although he had already seen Yi Ziwen's strength, in fact, he still did not take Yi Shiwen in his heart. He still regarded Yi Shiwen simply unworthy to match with him. But now that the ants that he didn't put in his eyes actually hurt him. What's more, it was a severe injury. It was like a loud slap right on his face. His aura surged vigorously in an instant. The demon aura on his body was boiling. That signified the burning of blood essence. Murderous intent overflowed from his eyes. What was left in the world through Nyehan's eyes was Yi Shiwen alone. Only by killing Yi Shiwen that Nyehan had a way out from the whole ordeal. Otherwise, never mind losing the position of Soul Destruction Temple Master, he might even be killed by those who worked for him in the past. He had no choice. Killing Yi Shiwen was his only path. Under the ruthless demon light which lit up the horizon, Nyehan emerged with an extreme and extreme sinister power. The space around him all boiled up. Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash burst out in an instant. Under the burning of countless blood essences on Nyehan's body, Soul Destruction cross-shaped slash also became countless times stronger. Nyehan's eyes were already crimson red. His hatred on Yi Shiwen was so intense. He wanted to kill Yi Shiwen so much that he resolved to burn the blood essence in his body. As long as he could kill Yi Shiwen, there would be masters from Demon Domain to empower him. He would be able to gain back any blood essence consumed. Yi Shiwen had gone through hundreds of battles. How could he not notice the desperation in Nyehan's eyes and the burned blood essence? Of course, Yi Shiwen was reluctant to burn blood essence, but he was willing to burn the elixirs. For him, the wealth on his body had reached an unimaginable level for ordinary people. After so many years of accumulation, even if he had used a lot, he actually plundered the wealth of so many masters. His wealth had exceeded 10 billion elixirs. Among the masters killed by Yi Shiwen, there were many masters in the Great Sage realm, and the total number should be more than 30. They alone contributed 4 to 5 billion of wealth to Yi Shiwen, excluding that dragon vein. If the dragon vein was condensed into elixirs, his wealth would be uncountable. Furthermore, the law enforcement hall had not given the compensation yet to Yi Shiwen. Due to the invasion of Emergent School this time, this matter would be postponed until the end of the war. However, Yi Shiwen was not in a hurry. Anyway, he had a lot of elixirs now. He could consume 1 billion with no attachment. As long as he could defeat the strong enemy, it didn't matter how much he consumed. Yi Shiwen immediately bombarded the Shattered Star Fist. It was a scene of star destruction, extremely terrifying. Yi Shiwen burned 10 million elixir. Although it was not as good as the attack just now, it was still powerful. Boom! 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 The two sides collided many times. One of them burned blood essence, and the other burned elixir. Their strength increased to a horrific level in an instant. The attack power at that moment was no inferior than Great Sage Great Mastery. A large amount of spiritual energy had poured into Yi Ziwen's body, making his body feel soaked in a world of spiritual energy. All of his meridians opened up, which excited Yi Shiwen the more he fought. On the contrary, Nihan's side was completely opposite to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen was backed by 10 billion elixirs. He could afford to continuously burn elixir. Moreover, he could utilize the dragon vein if it was necessary. Not to mention Great Sage, even Transcendent Realms Master would probably not be as rich as him. In this evenly matched situation, Yi Shiwen constantly bombarded terrible attacks with the support of elixirs. Nihan was burning his blood essence. As a character of Great Sage Minor Mastery, blood essence was quite abundant, but it could not support a consumption rate like this. If there was none left, Nihan would die because of it. By that time, death was his only way out. As the battle became more and more fierce, the two went all the way from the South region into the starry sky. The South region had too many limitations imposed by the world. Despite being able to puncture the space, they would still be constrained by the power of the world so as to stop them from destroying this world. The legendary character who could destroy a world with merely only one spear attack was just a legend. Most people couldn't do it. If the damage was too severe, they would be repulsed by the power of the world, so they would rather fight all the way to the universe. As the battle continued to escalate, Nihan gradually realized he was not as strong as he wished. Half of his blood essence was burned up. He could continue the stalemate with Yi Shiwen. Although Yi Shiwen also burned 1 billion elixir, it was not a big deal as compared to Nihan. Another murderous intent suddenly crossed in Nihan's eyes. I must not let Yi Shiwen survive. Die! He made another move. The surrounding changed its color. Innumerable spiritual energy in the universe condensed in an instant. It was all contaminated into demon aura in an instant. A long spear slowly condensed. It had the size of a mountain, emitting an unimaginable evil aura. Holy Destroyer Lance? Yi Ziwen's face suddenly changed. The trauma from Holy Destroyer Lance was too deep. How could he not remember that he almost fell directly from the air to his death last time due to Holy Destroyer Lance? Nihan seemed to have consumed endless energy. In a moment, his figure was a little crunched, his face was pale, and he seemed to be much older in an instant. This was the price he had to pay for forcibly launching this terrible demon art. Without the necessary criteria, he had to pay the price of his lifespan to forcefully manifest it. He had given all he had to slay Yi Shiwen. He knew that his blood essence could not support his fight with Yi Shiwen endlessly. If he continued to fight, he might be the one who suffered or even experienced a tragic death on the spot. He could only come with a final blow in an attempt to bring an ending to it. The terrifying long spear instantly cut through the universe and shattered anything it passed through, even if it was just a phantom or a projection of spirit. However, this holy destroyer lance still made Yi Shiwen feel the breath of destruction, as if it had returned to the prehistoric times and legend. Yi Shiwen, be careful. Dodge quickly. Yi Mo shouted quickly. Otherwise let Star Beast Avatar stop it. It's too late. Yi Shiwen shouted, his hands spread out, and a bloody barrier appeared in front of him. It was the power of Tianyuan Mirror. Boom! The phantom of Holy Destroyer Lance slammed onto the bloody barrier in front of Yi Shiwen in an instant. It happened too fast without giving Yi Shiwen any time to react. It came to him instantly. A terrible impact instantly swept through, creating waves of huge energy frenzy crashed onto the bloody barrier. Asterisk crack. Asterisk, it was an alarming crisp sound. Even in that terrible energy frenzy, it was unusually conspicuous. On the spear tip of the Holy Destroyer Lance's phantom, crack marks appeared on the bloody barrier. The crack was slowly spreading out in all directions, giving off the signs that it could collapse in any second. Yi Shiwen screamed. Under the direction of his spirit, 1,000,000 elixirs instantly burned into flaming spiritual energy, and then all of it was instilled on that bloody barrier. After consuming another 100 million elixir, it finally stabilized the bloody barrier that was about to collapse. Yi Shiwen was able to breathe a sigh of relief. If the bloody barrier broke down just now, he would probably be nailed to the ground by Holy Destroyer Lance on the spot. There was no doubt that it was his luck to escape the last time as he fell onto the land of true martial school, with someone rescuing him. There would be no one rescuing him this time around, let alone Nyehan was still around. Roar! Nyehan on the side suddenly roared like a furious beast after seeing Yi Shiwen actually blocked it. All the blood essence formed waves of demon aura, which was added to the Holy Destroyer Lance. Both sides actually fell into a stalemate for a while. Yi Shiwen kept burning elixir in the numbers of 100 million every second. However, he was still indifferent about it. Nyehan was also constantly burning his own blood essence, trying to slay Yi Shiwen. Boom! Under a huge blast, that Holy Destroyer Lance could not support itself and disappeared into a cluster of demon aura. After all, it was not an entity, but just a projection of spirit. On the other side, Nyehan was already skinny like twigs, completely missing the tall and majestic figure just now. Even though he just summoned Holy Destroyer Lance's spirit for a little while, it extracted all his blood essence. He was desperate as he made a gamble to slay Yi Shiwen. If he succeeded, everything would be fine for him. But he was defeated in Yi Zaiwen's hands in the end. Chapter 754. Chapter 754. Return to true martial school. Boom. Yi Shiwen slashed out directly. The sharp sword chi burst out and killed Nyehan on the spot, splattering blood everywhere. Suddenly, Yi Shiwen felt a terrifying aura locked on him. What kind of aura is this? It's like the beast from Ancient Barrens. Spanning time and space, the aura locked on Yi Shiwen from a distant empty area. Yi Shiwen did not dare to delay further. He immediately fanned his demon wings and rushed toward the true martial domain. In the blink of an eye, he had already fled back into the true martial domain. Not long after he left, a skinny old man suddenly appeared here. He was almost as skinny as Nyehan when all his blood essences were consumed. It was originally a close-fitting outfit, and yet it seemed like a big coat after being worn on him. His face was pale, and a pair of ghost-like eyes glinted in doubts. I felt the battle just now. How come it is gone? The skinny old man was puzzled as he looked around. There was the aura of Holy Destroyer Lance. How come it is gone? It should be Nyehan's aura. My senses will not be wrong. Nyehan actually died here. I wonder who is the expert behind it? The expert actually killed him. This is unbelievable. The old man obviously knew Nyehan, but he was not sad about it at all. However, now that the true martial domain is in chaos, any kind of master may appear. I should go back to the saint's altar first. There was a ripple in his surrounding space. His body entered the ripple and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yi Shuwen didn't know what happened after he left, but when he was locked on by that terrible aura just now, it made him feel like he was stabbed, a hunch that big troubles were coming. It was the so-called sixth sense. He almost felt his back drenched with sweat at once. Even the black-robed man in half-step transcendent realm did not give off such a hunch. There was only one possibility. It was a master in transcendent realm. Only the transcendent realm master could make Yi Shiwen, who was able to kill great sage minor mastery, feel that the world was collapsing. With the thought of being spotted by the transcendent realm master just now, Yi Shiwen felt he was lucky that it was over. It was definitely a transcendent realm master just now. I'm sure. At this time, next to Yi Shiwen, wolf cubs started to jump up and down. When Yi Shiwen and Niehan were fighting, it just entered the Tianyuan mirror directly to rest. It was not that it did not want to help, but Yi Shiwen would not let it participate. Yi Shiwen wanted to kill Niehan personally. Moreover, in his view, even if he wasn't confident with his main body, he still had his star beast avatar. No matter how Yi Shiwen sees it, this Niehan was dead for sure. It was just a matter of time. But the horrible aura just now passed in a Tianyuan mirror at once, woke Wolf Cub up from its sleep, and it instantly jumped out. After Yi Shiwen was sure that he had escaped the range of perception from the horrifying aura, he finally slowed down. That scares me to death. Fortunately, you escaped really fast. If you were to be any slower and got caught up by the Transcendent Realm Master, none of us can flee, Wolf Cub said with a lingering fear. Compared to Yi Shiwen, it knew better about how terrifying a Transcendent Realm Master was. It was hard for most people to imagine. I think you should hurry back to True Martial School. Although the fighting there is fierce, there are some Transcendent Realm Masters protecting the area. As long as you don't encounter any Transcendent Realm Masters, it is easy to escape without harm using your Star Beast avatar. Yi Shiwen nodded. Initially, he wanted to wander outside to kill the Masters invading South Barbarian or demon-worshipping religion. However, after this matter, he changed his mind because Transcendent Realm Masters were too scary. Once they were noticed, it was simply a dead end. Even if they wanted to flee, it would be difficult. Although there were more Transcendent Realm Masters at True Martial School in the number uncountable with 2 hands, True Martial School also had Transcendent Realm Masters. With just the head of the top 10 legatees, there were 10 Transcendent Realm Masters already. No to mention, there were other masters like Tibetan Star Sun, etc. These masters could completely protect him. Hence, True Martial School was safer as compared to wandering outside. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub flew away in the direction of True Martial School. Both Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub had already made a name for themselves. Many masters of South Barbarian or demon-worshipping religion who were about to make a move saw Yi Shiwen and fled in fright. Despite Yi Shiwen heading to True Martial School, how could he let those people who troubled the South region off? Everywhere he passed, these rebellious organizations and masters were purged like how fields were plowed. When Yi Shiwen returned to True Martial School, he discovered that the entire True Martial School had become a huge battlefield. Under the support of countless arrays and the underground spiritual veins, a fierce light was exuded. The divine light blasted out and destroyed an army of Tau soldiers in an instant. However, Emergent School were not cowards either. They spreaded out their scrolls infused with arrays that had been sealed in advance. With that, they launched a fierce confrontation with True Martial School. The two sides were competing for almost every piece of land. Countless screams could be heard. Even Yi Shiwen could see that there were great sages participating in it. At this time, some geniuses on both sides had finally shown their strength. Only in this chaotic world could offer a stage for the genius to show their talents to the fullest. Under the impetus of this chaotic world, even if the war lasts only a few years, it would be enough to spawn a large number of young talents. Many people were approaching breakthroughs in these few years. The potential of people was endless, but it depended on the circumstances. This was the opportunity to hone them. Yi Shiwen could see the figure of senior brother Huang Wuji. Huang Wuji was towering and powerful. His aura seemed ruthless. It seemed he had already stepped into half-step transcendent realm. He was now leading the army and guarding one side. Go. Let's join the fight. Yishuan noticed and said. For him, he also needed such a battle to sharpen his strength. Only by having enough strength could he stimulate the rapid growth and cultivation. Ever since he learned about the ancient Barrens continent from Yi Mo and Wolf Cub, his heart was overflowing with yearnings. Such a high plane might be his final stage. I don't have any opinions, but if any expert of Transcendent Realm gets involved, we will be crushed on the spot. Wolf Cub said, raising its eyelids. It was different from Yi Shiwen. Yi Zaiwen's talents were mediocre. Everything gained originated from battle. He paved his path from continuous killing. On the other hand, its talent was extremely strong, and it had a noble bloodline. Cultivation was as easy as a piece of cake for it too. Even if it slept all day long, the speed of its progress would still be shocking. Hence, it was far less eager for fighting than Yi Shiwen. It knew that risk came with rewards. But, in his opinion, there was a safe way to sneak into the true martial school. There was no need to take risks to break into the restricted area. Even if the Transcendent Realm Master makes a move, this place is so close to true martial school. I still have a great chance to escape. Yi Shiwen said, most important thing is that our true martial school side also has a Transcendent Master. Yes, this is the best way to hone yourself. Even if a Transcendent Realm Master is there, you have the opportunity to escape. This is the best training for you. Don't you see Huang Wuji? How long hasn't I seen him that he has already stepped into half-step Transcendent Realm Initial while your progress is still behind him? It is all because you haven't encountered any real danger previously. If you can continue to fight under Transcendent Realm Master's eyes, then your progress can reach an extreme speed. Yi Mo said aloud. He strongly supported Yi Shiwen. Okay, I don't mind. Since I'm here to stir trouble, then let's turn the world upside down. Ha. Wolf Cub laughed. Its bloodline power was awakened. It was not as attached to using battle to hone himself like Yi Shiwen, but it was not a peacekeeper. Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub did not take any pause at all. They rushed directly into the army of Emergent School. Emergent School had committed all they had this time. Chapter 755. Chapter 755. Invincible, the two figures dashed into the Emergent School's army like bombshells. Wherever they passed, the disciples of Emergent School screamed in agony. Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub were simply too powerful. Yi Shiwen had stepped into the Great Sage Intermediate. His combat power allowed him to kill Great Sage Minor Mastery easily. Even though Wolf Cub was a little weaker than Yi Shiwen, it was not a problem for it to defeat those in Great Sage Peak. This pair was famous in the South region. Their name would terrify the South barbarian and demon-worshipping religion. With that, Yi Shiwen had also made a name for himself as a strong talent in the true martial domain. Although Yi Shiwen was well known in the past, it was to the extent of the Sage Realm at that time. Sage Realm might be a king in a place like Yuan sect, but it was not a big deal in true martial domain. Such a person in the true martial domain was so abundant like the sand of the Ganges River. Yi Zaiwen's name was finally praised when he had demonstrated his tyrannical strength in the Great Sage Realm. Although his Star Beast avatar was not commonly utilized, it would be a great battle every time it was dispatched, especially after killing someone in Great Sage Great Perfection. Great Sage Great Perfection composed of heroes like Huang Wuji, Mu Xingjie, and many other distinguished figures. They were famous for many years, signifying an absolute strength that terrified people. But in the end, they were all defeated in the hands of Yi Shiwen. All their wealth fell into Yi Zaiwen's hand. At the same time, they also established Yi Zaiwen's current fame in their defeat. In the Emergent School's army, there were traces of various arrays almost everywhere. They said human powers are limited, but it will be limitless to utilize the power of heaven and earth. These arrays were set up by utilizing the power of heaven and earth to defeat the enemy. The arrays from both sides collided with one another, especially those legendary warriors. They could contend with Sage Realm Masters by just relying on the arrays. This simply went against common sense. Moreover, Those who came into contact with the arrays later would be greatly suppressed too. But for Yi Shiwen, it was nothing. The heavens might released on the array was a stimulant to growth. Yi Shiwen covered his whole body with divinity. The suppression brought by the array was ineffective to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen was indifferent to those arrays. A long sword appeared in his hand. He thrust it to his enemy directly. The sword glinted here and there every time it was slashed. In every slash, it marked the fall of a legend. Even a Sage Realm Master was directly stabbed to death in one attack. Yi Zaiwen's movements were so simple that it was not even an intimidating sword art. Only the most basic sword art was utilized. It was not complicated at all. However, unimaginable power exuded in Yi Zaiwen's hands. A set of basic sword art had become the supreme art for mass slaughter. It was also helpful to temper Yi Shiwen. Sometimes for a master who is strong enough, everything is no avail in front of its pure strength. Whether it is a powerful martial technique or even an ultimate technique, in front of his absolute strength, they became illusory. Beside him, Wolf Cub was psyched up. It had grown to the size of a small hill. After a small pause, its figure grew bigger at a rate faster than how it grew bigger previously. He moved like a gust of swift wind. Any place he passed by despite not doing much, the disciples of Emergent School were already dead. All of it happened as it charged around violently. Tau soldiers' phalanx were shattered at once. They were unable to stop it. The two cooperated very well. First, Wolf Cub directly rushed into the phalanx of the Emergent School's disciples, or Tau soldiers. After terrible chaos, it directly destroyed the formation. During the time when they were in great fear, Yi Shiwen would arrive. Blood splattered everywhere with Yi Zaiwen's most basic sword art. Each blood splatter marked the death of a master in the hands of Yi Shiwen. Although Yi Shiwen did not have a distinguished sword art, his killing speed was not slower than Wolf Cub, but even faster. His physical body was too strong, so the speed was extremely fast. In just a split second, Yi Shiwen had thrust his sword hundreds of times. Anywhere the sword crossed, there would be another corpse piles of Emergent School disciples. The vast majority of them didn't even know how they died, and they couldn't know how Yi Shiwen made a move. The sword tip had thrust in their throats, and a splendid blood flower bloomed. They were killed just like that with their wealth completely robbed at the same time. In the past few months, the two cooperated many times. Facing a similar situation again, they cooperated very well. Their blood essence was absorbed by Tianyuan Mirror in an instant. Bloody light was surging in the sky. It was quite peculiar at first glance. After all, Tianyuan Mirror itself was a treasure of demon attributes. Hence, it was horrifying. If not because of Yi-Mo taking control, even the owner, Yi Shiwen, might get affected. This was also the case of many demonic treasures. Although it was powerful, it often came along with great aftermath. This was also the way that demon domain. Power was always pursued. Anything was acceptable with absolute power. Anything would be impossible without absolute power. Tianyuan Mirror attained growth by absorbing blood essence, which was basically a common thing for Yi-Mo. In Demon Domain, there were many Demon Clan members who died under Tianyuan Mirror under many years of campaigns led by demons. Yi Shiwen wasn't bothered with it. He would keep hunting down these people from Emergent School. They were all enemies in his heart. Each death was his gain. The cooperation of the duo was like a giant bulldozer. Any Emergent School disciples' formation collapsed in the encounter. Wherever the battle went, the formation of Emergent School collapsed. Tau soldiers were crushed. One master after another was killed in their hands. Even if there was a great sage coming to retaliate while leading the Tau soldiers' legion, they were not afraid at all. After the great sage was defeated by the duo, the army had no leader. Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub crushed them completely. A lot of blood essence was infused into Tianyuan Mirror, making Tianyuan Mirror's aura more and more powerful. This was a rare opportunity, not only because Yi Shiwen could plunder the wealth of these masters, but it was an opportunity for Tianyuan Mirror to absorb those blood essence for a breakthrough. How would there be so many legendary warriors to be killed during peaceful times? They were like fertilizers waiting in line to be killed. Even a few months ago, there were often teams of South barbarian or demon-worshipping religion masters in the South region. However, it did not arrive in a situation like this. The huge army should be at least 10 million. No one knew the actual number of Emergent School army. Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub were just like a stone thrown into the sea. After setting off a wave, they were quickly swarmed. No matter how many they killed, there would always be more masters coming. So, Yi Shiwen did not utilize his Shattered Star Fist. Although Shattered Star Fist had great power, it also consumed a lot of energy. Facing the infinite Emergent School disciples, Yi Shiwen would die for running dry on Qi first before the fight would end. Of course, the possibility of it was highly likely. Even if Yi Shiwen tried to conserve Qi as much as possible, the battle took place at a fast rate. It was conceivable the consumption would be large if Shattered Star Fist was utilized. Anyway, as long as he could achieve the purpose of killing the enemy, he would not care about what move to use. However, with the combination of Yi Shiwen and Wolf Cub, they continued to penetrate into the depths of the Emergent School army. Of course, the resistance they encountered was getting more intense. The chances of encountering great sage masters were getting higher too. Of course, the death count of the great sage under Yi Zaiwen's hands also increased accordingly. Finally, it attracted the attention of the experts in Emergent School. After Yi Shiwen bombarded a great sage disciple of Emergent School, he was surrounded by many great sages before he could continue his pursuit on the ordinary Tao soldiers and disciples who were scattered. These great sages had a terrifying aura, even if they were far away. It was an aura born from numerous campaigns and wars. The leader of the group had already entered the half-step Transcendent Realm too. It was an elite team from Emergent School. A great sage, great mastery, or a great sage, great perfection realm master was adequate to lead a huge army. Right now, all of them were gathered in a small team under the lead of half-step Transcendent Realm. The status of this team was apparent. Now this elite team had rushed to Yi Shiwen. It was conceivable that the mass killing of Yi Shiwen had already attracted the attention of the experts in Emergent School. What a kiddo from true martial school. You actually pushed your battle to here. I wonder how many disciples of Emergent School died in your hands. Now it's time for your death. It is rare for true martial school to have a bold disciple like you, said the half-step Transcendent Realm Master with a sneer. He was a middle-aged man of ordinary appearance, but with a bit of arrogance. For him, Yi Shiwen was nothing. He was already a half-step Transcendent Realm Master. Even if he was only half-step, it still took on the words of Transcendent Realm. He was already different from Great Sage. Although he marveled that Yi Shiwen dared to rush here, he was just a little surprised. But your good luck should stop here. Die! The half-step Transcendent Realm Master yelled all of a sudden as his punch moved toward Yi Shiwen. Chapter 756. Chapter 756. Directly tore it apart, it was Emergent's godly fist, which instantly formed the Holy Kingdom on the battlefield. In Emergent School, this Emergent's godly fist was widely spread. Many masters more or less knew something about Emergent's godly fist, but there were some differences. Masters of different levels would be taught in Emergent's godly fist of different calibers. The half-step Transcendent Realm middle-aged man had almost attained the complete version of Emergent's godly fist. He committed an all-out attack at his first move, trying to kill Yi Shiwen in one blow, so as not to waste time. As a matter of fact, his elite team existed to deal with this sudden situation. All of the efforts were to prevent true martial school's experts from suddenly breaking into their line, disrupting their formation. For real masters, the number of people could no longer be regarded as an influencing factor. The battle between real masters would shock the world. Any number of legendary masters sent were just cannon fodder. Any effort in adding man count would be futile. Dispatching another master would be the only way. There was more than one elite team like this. Many of such elite teams were dispersed around the main attacking force. Yi Shiwen was obviously a dangerous enemy, which required him to deal with personally. However, it was only a little troublesome in his eyes. After all, he felt condescended to personally deal with a great sage. As a matter of fact, he was in half-step transcendent realm. He felt Yi Zaiwen's death was too honored. Yi Shiwen instantly felt a horrifying punch. It enveloped him from all corners at once. The Holy Kingdom seemingly broke through the gap in time and swooshed down. This half-step transcendent realm master accumulated a few inspirations that allowed him to exert the power of Emergent's godly fist, thus bringing out the real horror behind it. Retreat back to Tianyuan Mirror, Yi Shiwen shouted and shot out a bloodlight. The wolf cub was retrieved in a Tianyuan Mirror. He had a tacit understanding with wolf cub. When Yi Shiwen encountered an overwhelming master who was difficult to deal with, it would enter Tianyuan Mirror to take refuge and call out Star Beast Avatar. When that bloodlight waves were over, Yi Shiwen was still standing, but Star Beast Avatar had replaced his main body. At this time, Yi Shiwen finally made his move. He squeezed his 5 fingers into a fist and bombarded it. Shattered Star Fist, the boundless fist, instantly blasted out a huge star. The surrounding space suddenly became a cosmos. It was shrouded by Yi Zaiwen's fist will. In a split second, it came crashing down and slammed into the Holy Kingdom. Boom! The terrible fist of both sides collided. 2 completely different fists crushed the space in between while kept devouring each other. A huge mushroom cloud burst out. The terrible impact swept out, and countless legendary realm warriors were directly bombarded by this terrible force. All their physical bodies completely collapsed. They eventually turned into a mass of blood mist under their agonizing scream. When half-step transcendent realm masters had a fight, the shockwaves emitted from it were not something they could withstand. With merely this confrontation, it created a huge empty space. The Great Sage Great Mastery Masters and the Great Sage Great Perfection Masters in the team had to muster all they could to protect themselves from the shockwaves. They retreated all the way from their original spots. Those who were closed had no way to dodge it. They were all inflicted with internal injuries. However, they were still better off than those legendary masters who turned into masses of blood mist due to the shockwave. Half-step transcendent realm? The middle-aged man saw that Yi Shiwen turned out to be a half-step transcendent realm master. Not only did he not have any fear, but he was excited. Just like true martial school, the situation at Emergent School was the same. As long as one could kill a master of true martial school, he or she could get a lot of benefits. However, was the true martial school's master easy to be killed? Most of them situated themselves in the arrays, as if hiding in a turtle shell. Unless the arrays were broken through, there was no way to kill them. Even if there were some rare talents who fought next to the arrays, once there was anything that was not right, they would hide into the arrays immediately. These would render Emergent School's warriors made futile efforts. All in all, the benefits of geographical advantages were fully displayed. True Martial School fought in their home ground. When Emergent School launched a campaign from a faraway place, this itself was already a huge disadvantage. If it was not the strength of Emergent School that had an overwhelming advantage, they simply couldn't afford a campaign to conquer True Martial School. Generally, Sage Realm Masters and even the Great Sage Masters were not attractive to the middle-aged man. Although there were many rewards, these rewards were very ugly for him. After all, he was already a half-step transcendent realm. The resources and wealth he needed were far beyond what Great Sage could imagine. Although many a mickle makes a muckle, most people in the True Martial School were hiding in arrays. The Emergent School could only kill all the disciples of True Martial School in one breath if they managed to break into the arrays. Otherwise, there was no way to accomplish it. Even if the Emergent School broke into the arrays, the middle-aged man might face competition from other experts of Emergent School, while at the same time face the attack of the Transcendent Realm of True Martial School. So for him, this system was not in any way helpful. However, the emergence of Yi Shiwen made him feel excited. With the emergence of Yi Shiwen, the situation would be completely different. Beheading a half-step Transcendent Realm Master definitely offered massive points. The points were completely different from killing the Great Sage and Sage Realm Masters. So what occupied his mind now was to kill Yi Shiwen, before the other half-step Transcendent Realm Masters noticed it. With that, he could redeem enormous points. Most importantly, the wealth of a master of half-step Transcendent Realm must be at an unimaginable level. He could make a fortune by killing one. As for the possibility of Yi Zaiwen's escape, he didn't even think about it. In this place, there was no way for Yi Shiwen to escape. He was surrounded by people from Emergent School in all directions. As for the situation where Yi Shiwen might kill him, it would never appear in his mind anymore. A warrior who could cultivate to the level of half-step Transcendent Realm was definitely a talent. They definitely were a distinguished genius which made fame for themselves in battle. Naturally, they were the most confident in themselves and firmly believed that they were invincible. At this time, he would naturally not think about the worst situation that could happen. I really didn't expect you to be a half-step Transcendent Realm warrior. You actually disguised as a great sage. You're really cunning. I guess you're probably trying to deceive our Emergent School disciples. It's a pity that you met me, and your good luck ends here. Since you actually made it into the most central area, I think your luck is still not that bad. The middle-aged man had delightful emotions on his face. He squeezed his 5 fingers into a fist. As he launched his fist so swiftly, the flutter of the clothes was allowed. The terrible fist was crushed down and turned into the Holy Kingdom. The Kingdom of Immortality. The Kingdom of Holy Realm Dwellers. Countless Holy Realm Dwellers lived and played in it, and countless Holy Realm Dwellers' troops were practicing in it. The system was strict like a country. In the sky, there were countless Holy Realm Dwellers singing in Sanskrit, singing songs that blessed eternal life. It appeared beautiful, but behind it represented a terrifying fighting power. Yi Shiwen sneered. As soon as the middle-aged man said his words, Yi Shiwen knew what the middle-aged man was thinking. He even wanted to behead Yi Shiwen in exchange for points before the other masters arrived. But this was a good sign. It enabled Yi Shiwen an opportunity to fight with the middle-aged man alone. With that, he could retreat fully after killing the middle-aged man. If there were several other half-step Transcendent Realm Masters at this time, Yi Shiwen could only flee immediately and spread his demon wings without hesitation. Otherwise, he might actually be beheaded on the spot. This was not what he wanted. He just wanted to hone himself. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen chanted his battle cry. His body stood upright suddenly. It was covered with golden divinity, as if he was a gold-casted battle god. He rushed towards the middle-aged man in everyone's surprise. This move allowed him to fight with the middle-aged man solely on physical quality. In the battlefield led by Emergent School, Yi Shiwen had to be wary for his every move. Any hindrance would lead to big trouble. Despite this middle-aged man not wanting the other half-step Transcendent Realm Master to join in, it would be inevitable that the other half-step Transcendent Realm Masters would participate in the fight sooner or later. By that time, even if Yi Shiwen defeated him, it would still be difficult for him to escape. Yi Shiwen would need to defeat the middle-aged man before the situation turned bad. Yi Zaiwen's most prominent strength would be his physical body. Although he did not use his real body, Star Beast Avatar's physical body was so powerful without question. It was not worse than his tyrant body. Of course, when his tyrant body steps into half-step Transcendent Realm in the future, it might be even stronger than Star Beast Avatar. But even so, this was a horrifying body that could compete with the Dragon Clan. Yi Shiwen even rushed directly into the Holy Kingdom. With his tyrannical strength, Yi Shiwen tore the Holy Kingdom into half. The profundities in the middle-aged man's fist were torn apart in an instant. Emergence and Holy Realm Dwellers were simply illusory. It perished without leaving any trace behind. The countless Holy Realm Dwellers screamed in agony. Their defeat painted Yi Shiwen like a bloody demon. Chapter 757. Chapter 757. Catch a turtle in the jar. It was quite an intimidating scene. Emergent's godly fist besieged Yi Shiwen, and yet it did not manage to leave a scratch. The divinity on his body was resurrected in an instant as though he had become a deity. Despite it being the deity of Beast Clan, each one was towering and mighty. They were all imposing divine. All of them protected Yi Zaiwen's body from being hurt by Emergent's godly fist will. Moreover, Yi Shiwen had the physical body of a star beast, a terrifying creature that feeds on the universe, and even hunted Dragon Clan's members. All of these enabled Yi Shiwen to tear apart Emergent's holy kingdom on the spot. This made the middle-aged man suddenly depressed and wanted to vomit blood. Everyone at Emergent's school who cultivated Emergent's godly fist had different calibers of holy kingdom. All of them incorporated their Tao in it. All his understanding of the Tao and Emergent's godly fist were integrated, leading to the illusory scene. However, when it was torn apart, it was equivalent to tearing his Tao apart. This feeling was disastrous. How can you be so powerful? The middle-aged man simply found it unbelievable. He couldn't believe that Yi Shiwen could tear his fist will apart so easily. But he didn't know that although Yi Zaiwen's Star Beast avatar had just entered the half-step transcendent realm not long ago, he was definitely not a novice. With the blood essence and power transmitted by the adult Star Beast, he had reached the peak of half-step transcendent realm initial. With the terrible fighting talent of Star Beast avatar, he was akin invincible. Even the half-step transcendent realm intermediate master couldn't kill him. He could handle it calmly. This was his biggest card after all. Although this middle-aged man was also quite powerful, he even cultivated the half-step transcendent realm. But how could he compare with a unique clan like Star Beast? What's impossible? You are too ignorant. Yi Shiwen sneered. With the blood essence and power passed by the adult Star Beast, he could even step into half-step transcendent realm intermediate at any second. He was only a tiny gap away, making it possible to happen very soon. In this realm, he was not fearful in the battlefield, but he might get defeated after getting besieged by a couple of transcendent realm masters. Yi Shiwen had rushed in front of the middle-aged man amidst the exchange of words. Boom! Yi Shiwen struck the middle-aged man with a punch. A huge star was manifested, and it exploded on his body. A terrible and unparalleled power was rushing in it, boiling up and constantly raising a vertical airflow. The middle-aged man suddenly spat out blood, and his figure flew out, unable to withstand such a force. Yi Zaiwen's full blow was terrible. Moreover, the middle-aged man did not have such a strong physical body as Yi Shiwen. He was seriously injured after sustaining the full attack. Kill him! At this time, the Great Sage, Great Mastery Masters, and Great Sage, Great Perfection Masters couldn't sit still. They were the middle-aged man's underlings who were put under the lead of this middle-aged man for a long time. All of them had the potential to step into the half-step transcendent in the future. They couldn't sit idle and see the middle-aged man get killed. At this time, all of them launched their attack. More than a dozen Great Sage, Great Mastery Masters, and the Great Sage, Great Perfection Masters launched their attack collectively. It was a terrifying force. Their mighty vigor covered the sky in an instant. It was not weaker than the middle-aged man just now. If Yi Zaiwen's main body was here, he could only escape desperately at this time, and might even fail in doing so. However, with the Star Beast avatar, he was indifferent to it. The gap between half-step transcendent realm and Great Sage sufficed for him to ignore these attacks. As Yi Zaiwen's hand grabbed forward, a mirror appeared in his hand. It was Tianyuan Mirror. The endless red light on Tianyuan Mirror burst out suddenly. In Yi Zaiwen's hand, Tianyuan Mirror, a Great Sage tool, burst out in great vigor. The terrible power was far from being comparable in the hands of the main body. This was like a great sage using a sage tool. Even if it was not his own sage tool, it might exert the terrible power that even the original owner of the sage tool did not think of. This was the role of cultivation strength. Moreover, Yi Shiwen was the owner of Tianyuan Mirror. In the hands of Yi Shiwen, blood light exuded from the Tianyuan Mirror, which condensed into a blood pool. It was the projection of the blood pool in Tianyuan Mirror that appeared in the sky. Boom! What? A Great Sage, Great Mastery Master was struck by the blood pool on the spot. He was drowned directly in the boundless blood waves. With the addition of Yi Zaiwen's own power and Tianyuan Mirror's power, this Great Sage, Great Mastery screamed in agony on the spot. His entire figure was vaporized. All of his blood essence was absorbed by Tianyuan mirror. Ha! What a wonderful feeling. Only the blood essence of such a master is useful. Yi Mo's rampant laughter appeared in Yi Zaiwen's mind. Yi Shiwen, go all out and slaughter them. I have a hunch. As long as the slaughter continues, the promotion of Tianyuan mirror is not a problem at all. When the promotion of Tianyuan mirror is completed, even if you meet the master of transcendent realm, you can escape with ease. Ha! Yi Shiwen nodded. He also knew that the current Tianyuan mirror had reached a bottleneck. Tianyuan mirror had become a great sage tool many years ago. For many years, it had absorbed many blood essences from different masters. In the past few months, it had absorbed many great sages' blood essence. It could be said that it had already entered the peak of the great sage tool, but it was still unable to evolve. Yi Shiwen knew that quantitative changes cause qualitative changes. Right now, he lacked enough quantitative changes. Hence, he would need to kill more blood essences of Great Sage and even blood essences of half-step Transcendent Realm to feed Tianyuan Mirror and upgrade it. However, Yi Zaiwen's actions were not slow at all. Under the control of Yi Shiwen, the blood pool kept suppressing the enemy. The Great Sage, Great Mastery Masters, and the Great Sage, Great Perfection Masters were all under Yi Zaiwen's pressure. They exploded on the spot and turned into a cluster of blood mist one by one. Then, the Tianyuan mirror absorbed them into it. Yi Shiwen extracted all of their wealth at the same time too. These Great Sage Masters were tyrannical. They obviously accumulated many wealth. Just because of them, Yi Shiwen harvested more than 5 billion elixir. If it was in the past, it would be an astronomical figure for Yi Shiwen. But Yi Shiwen treated it much calmer now. He finally understood why those people with higher cultivation did not care about the so-called wealth because they could be plundered at will. As long as one participated in constant killing, he or she could obtain as much wealth as they wish. Of course, Yi Shiwen also knew that this opportunity might only happen once in this life. If it was not the case of the invasion of Emergent School, how could there be such a large group of Great Sage supplemented for him to kill? If Great Sage was killed one at the time like during the past, the plundering speed was unmatched to the current speed. Those Great Sages turned into blood mist in agonizing screams. They couldn't imagine how tyrannical Yi Shiwen was. He did not bat an eye on the tyrannical strength of Great Sages. After all, they were only one step away from half-step Transcendent Realm. Unfortunately, this step had a stark difference. After absorbing the blood essence from these Great Sages, the Tianyuan mirror shone even brighter. Yi Shiwen could even feel that the space in the Tianyuan mirror was also continuously expanding. At this rate, the space inside the Tianyuan mirror could be developed into a size close to a domain sooner or later. A domain which might not be inferior to a big world like true martial domain. It was a bright path. Yi Shiwen didn't know if he had the opportunity to wait until that day, just like he didn't know whether his lifespan permitted him to witness a fully grown Mingxin ancient tree. In the Tianyuan mirror, images of Demon Clan began to appear on the original quaint patterns. It included the Great Demon Clan, Azura Clan, etc. All the famous clans in Demon Domain appeared in the image. This was the scene when Tianyuan mirror was about to evolve. When the time comes for the Tianyuan mirror to complete the evolution, it would become even more terrifying. It would be the real commandment in the Demon Clan world. None of them could defile it. With that, it was entirely possible for Yi Shiwen to become the king of Demon Domain. Yi Mo is so confident that he wants to lift him to the Demon King throne. Naturally, he also has his confidence. Damn, how could this be? The middle-aged man's eyes were about to bleed, and he looked at his carefully trained team. In front of Yi Shiwen, it was like a pig, and he was easily beheaded and turned into a group of blood mist. How could he be so powerful? In his eyes, the fire of hatred almost surged to the sky, but he did not dare to be hesitant. He immediately turned around and fled. With just one exchange of blows, it made him understand that Yi Zaiwen's strength was far beyond his imagination. It was unattainable to him. If he were to contend with Yi Shiwen, let alone his well-trained team, Even he himself must be sacrificed. Thinking of this, he did not dare to delay. He immediately turned into a cluster of light and fled away. "You want to flee?" Yi Shiwen sneered. He immediately sensed it, but how could he let go of this half-step transcendent realm master? The Tianyuan mirror was going to evolve. The blood essence of a great sage master was no longer useful. Yi Shiwen could only rely on the half-step transcendent realm masters. He immediately stowed out in pursuit. Tianyuan mirror exuded the boundless blood barrier and locked the space all at once. The middle-aged man who wanted to escape suddenly became a turtle trapped in the jar. There was no way to escape. Chapter 758. Chapter 758. Emergence of Transcendent Realm Warrior in the outskirts of true martial school. Huang Wuji led a legion to defend a territory. Transcendent Realm Masters existed as a general reserve team and would not make a move in general situations. They were only dispatched with the emergence of another Transcendent Realm Master. Otherwise, it might really escalate the battle too intensely, which would directly lead to the fall of a large number of Transcendent Realm Masters. This was unacceptable to both parties. For true martial school, they would need to conserve their forces even if they were to emerge victoriously. That was of utmost importance to cope with the many other forces that eye covetously on true martial school. At the same time, it was the same for the emergent school. The loss of Great Sage was not a big deal. However, sacrificing too many Transcendent Realm Masters for the victory would be Pyrrhic. It didn't make much sense. Boom! Huang Wuji was like an emperor among the mortals. He was domineering. The sword in his hand was even bigger than his body. Between each slash, horrifying golden long dragons were formed directly, whistling and rushing out. Any Sage Realm warriors and Legendary Realm warriors were torn apart in an instant. There was no way for them to contend with his existence. Huang Wuji had stepped into half-step Transcendent Realm. It was a piece of cake to slaughter these Sage Realm warriors and Legendary Realm warriors. At the same time, he knew there wasn't much opportunity for this slaughter. He did leave a fatal injury on the half-step Transcendent Realm of the emergent school whom he was facing. Although he did not manage to kill his opponent, it gave a window of opportunity. Sure enough, he would take this chance to kill more enemies. Sooner or later, another half-step Transcendent Realm Master would be dispatched to protect this place. He would then lose the opportunity to continue the slaughter like this. Suddenly, he noticed a commotion in the large formation of emergent school far away in the distance. The emergent school formation completely collapsed as two figures commenced their slaughter. One person and one wolf cooperated very well. Even as they directly penetrated into the center of emergent school's army formation, their speed was not hindered. In the end, half-step Transcendent Realm Master led an elite team to come in person. While Huang Wuji was still thinking about who it was, he suddenly found out that the person was too familiar. "That's my junior brother, right? It turns out to be my junior brother?" Huang Wuji was a little surprised, looking at the invincible presence in the large formation of emergent school. But what he didn't anticipate was that Yi Shiwen could even kill a half-step Transcendent Realm Master. Under Yi Ziwen's attack, the half-step Transcendent Realm Master suffered numerous defeats. In the past few years, it was clear that Yi Shiwen had greatly improved. However, his achievement was far beyond the past. When Yi Shiwen defeated Mu Xingjie previously, the opponent was only in Great Sage Great Perfection. It had a stark difference with Transcendent Realm. It hadn't been a long while yet Yi Shiwen attained half-step Transcendent Realm. Huang Wuji also stepped into the half-step Transcendent Realm not long ago, so he was very sensitive to that aura and was certain that he would not be mistaken about it. What a disciple! Yi Shiwen actually develops into this stage. It is really fortunate for Tibetan Star Summit. Did heaven send my junior brother to revitalize the true martial school? But after seeing Yi Shiwen's surrounding, there were a few half-step Transcendent Realm Masters who came from far to surround Yi Shiwen. If they were not concerned about the middle-aged man who was held hostage, Yi Shiwen would already be killed. Huang Wuji understood what they were thinking. These masters intended to treat Yi Shiwen as a prey. a prey with a lot of wealth. However, they did not want to shoulder the middle-aged man's blame. Thinking of this, Huang Wuji felt that he could not continue to wait. Although Yi Shiwen was powerful, it was very dangerous to dive so deep into Emergent School's army formation. A master of Transcendent Realm might come out to kill Yi Shiwen at any time. Huang Wuji turned around and flew towards the interior of True Martial School. He wanted to ask for help from the seniors in the sect. On the other side, Yi Zaiwen's speed was so fast. He had already caught up with the middle-aged man in a moment. When his fist swooshed down, it instantly blocked any escape path. Damn, go to die. Yi Shiwen forced the middle-aged man into a dead end. Since he could not escape this time, he decided to fight with his life. He already knew the gap between him and Yi Shiwen was great enough to harm his life. He no longer wanted to kill Yi Shiwen to earn points. The thoughts in his mind were simply, he had to drag the time until after half-step Transcendent Realm came an aid, or even better, a Transcendent Realm Master. By that time, he would be able to kill this damn guy. In his heart, he hated Yi Shiwen very much. If it weren't for Yi Shiwen, how could he be in such a poor state? Not only was the team he elaborately trained destroyed in Yi Zaiwen's hands, but he was being pursued and put under such shame. After all, he was supposedly half-step Transcendent Realm Master who was above countless people. He even burned his blood essence. The power in his whole body surged in an instant. He blasted out another Emergent's godly fist on Yi Shiwen. However, Yi Shiwen was unfazed. He was much more tyrannical than previously. He launched another move and shattered the middle-aged man's attack. The Emergent's Holy Kingdom formed under the Emergent's godly fist collapsed directly. Then it came another punch from the void. Bang! Yi Zaiwen's fist was like a huge star as it collided upon the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man screamed in agony. His physical body disintegrated and was absorbed by Tianyuan Mirror. After absorbing this half-step Transcendent Realm Master, Tianyuan Mirror suddenly rose into the sky. Tianyuan Mirror finally began to change a little bit on its inner quality. For tools which had already reached the Great Sage Tool peak, the next step was on qualitative changes. This process would go slowly, taking an enormous amount of time. Killing Great Sage Masters and absorbing the blood essence would not bring much progress. Only the death of the half-step Transcendent Realm Master could stimulate Tianyuan Mirror's qualitative change. But how could such a master be killed so easily? Worse still, a mere 1 or 2 kill count was insufficient. The only way to allow Tianyuan Mirror to evolve at once was the death of the Transcendent Realm Master. However, Yi Shiwen would not dare to even think about it. Such masters were the top experts. The most appropriate prey right now was half-step Transcendent Realm Master. Although the speed was slower, it was still evolving. Come on, Yi Shiwen. Leave here quickly. You attracted enough attention already. Yimo quickly reminded. Even though he was in the comfort of absorbing the blood essence of a half-step Transcendent Realm Master, he had not lost his cool. He would not be able to digest the blood essence of this half-step Transcendent Realm Master in a moment and a half. They should leave after attaining the gains to prevent any losses. Although Yi Shiwen had killed a lot of Great Sage previously, it was still in small scale. The duo was quickly swarmed by the crowd. The situation had escalated when a half-step Transcendent Realm Master died on the spot. It was conceivable that it would shock the higher-ups of Emergent School. Yi Shiwen was not afraid of general warriors. However, if the higher-ups came, it would be disastrous. Where are you going? A thunderstorm-like sound rippled in the universe. It was as if the Holy Realm had descended. A terrifying aura instantly enveloped Yi Shiwen. Transcendent Realm. Yi Shiwen was shocked. This feeling was too familiar to him. When he killed Soul Destruction Temple Master previously, he was locked on by such a terrible aura. He fled in time back then, and he was not relentlessly pursued. However, Yi Shiwen was aware that it was definitely a Transcendent Realm Master. Right now, it must be the Transcendent Realm Master in Emergent School. He could only be regarded as a petty kid in the smaller-scale fight. Even if Yi Shiwen killed many great sages, it would be nothing for Emergent School. In such a collision of superpowers, the death of a great sage would occur almost every once in a while. But the fall of a half-step Transcendent Realm Master was a big deal. It really caught the attention of the Transcendent Realm Master. A half-step Transcendent Realm Master actually got into the core position of Emergent School's army formation. It definitely stirred the anger of Emergent School's higher-ups. A half-step Transcendent Realm Master was worth the emergence of a Transcendent Realm Master. Immediately afterwards, a big hand covered the sky and collapsed from it. In front of such mighty power, it seemed that immortals, deities, and demons were illusory concepts. Only this power was eternal. Under normal circumstances, a half-step Transcendent Realm Master was not worth dirtying their hands. Their opponents would always be only those masters of the same level. But Yi Zaiwen's killing still alarmed the Emergent School's higher-ups. The death of a half-step Transcendent Realm Master still angered them. For Yi Shiwen, this was a big test, but it was not a dead end. Since entering the large formation of Emergent School, Yi Shiwen was ready to face the intervention of Transcendent Realm Masters anytime and anywhere. Even when dealing with the half-step Transcendent Realm Master, Yi Shiwen was still alerted, ready to escape at any time. Now the Transcendent Realm Master had arrived. The pair of golden wings behind Yi Shiwen instantly unfolded. He infused the storm power, madly flew in the direction of true martial school. At this time, he had no other way but to escape. Although his Star Beast avatar had already stepped in a half-step Transcendent Realm, he didn't even think about going against the Transcendent Realm Master. That was simply courting death. He could feel that the big hand behind him was getting closer and closer. This is terrifying. Chapter 759. Chapter 759 Lucky? What a joke. That strength. In just a moment, Yi Shiwen felt the horror of that big hand. It was seemingly attached to his body, rendering him unable to escape. At this time, Yi Shiwen had flown out from the Emergent School army formation. Although the Emergent School's army position was now vast, which stretched out in miles, his current strong cultivation rendered him great speed. Crossing 100 miles in just a moment was not an exaggeration at all. However, the big hand behind him was still tightly approaching. It was getting closer and closer. Yi Shiwen knew he would get caught before he rushed into the true martial school. He decided to gamble his fate. I want to be able to flee this time. I have to fight. Yi Shiwen let out a huge cry in his heart. Dominate the world. Rebirth the golden body in me. Yi Shiwen incarnated Tyrant Golden Buddha scripture. There was a surge of divinity in his body, which formed a tall golden body. This was Yi Zaiwen's golden body divine manifestation. However, it could only be regarded as a fake and inferior counterfeit, imitating the gods and manifested the divine golden body. Despite it being a fake and inferior counterfeit, the divine golden body manifestation formed by countless divinity had a defensive power that was terrifying. It could even firmly sustain the attack of a half-step Transcendent Realm Master. Although it couldn't last for a long time, it was very useful for Yi Shiwen now. Even if it was only activated for a short while, that would be enough. What surrounded Yi Zaiwen's body was countless spiritual energy. All of them poured into this huge gold body manifestation to support it. Although this golden body was powerful, it also consumed a large amount of spiritual energy. Just to support it, it would have consumed 100 million elixirs. Boom! The palm fell directly from the depths of the sky. Any obstruction to it seemed so ridiculous. Yi Zaiwen's current strength was not weak, but he was fragile like an infant in front of this big hand. The big hand instantly grabbed toward his golden body. Asterisk crack. Asterisk, asterisk crack. Asterisk, asterisk crack. Asterisk with a series of cracking sounds. Yi Zaiwen's golden body shattered inch by inch in front of this terrible attack. It was like sand grains, gotten annihilated inch by inch. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yi Shiwen was resolute to fight back. Countless elixir in Tin Yuan mirror burned madly, pouring into the golden body fanatically, repairing the golden body that was obliterated by that big hand little by little. Under that horrible big hand, Yi Shiwen did not consume elixir little by little at all, but burned 100 million elixir as every second passed. He was really going crazy. This big hand locked the space almost instantly, giving him no chance to escape. I can only confront it until the end. At this time, there was no other way. The only hope was to fight it till the end. A long while had passed. It was either for an instant or a long time. Yi Zaiwen's mind went into a blank state. The Mingxin ancient tree behind him suddenly exuded a series of colorful divine light, engulfing him. Yi Zaiwen's mind got clearer. Yi Shiwen only felt a mysterious and unfathomable feeling, a feeling that was a little difficult to understand. This was the Tao of Transcendent Realm. The Mingxin ancient tree activated at this moment, granting Yi Shiwen the state of empowerment. But Yi Zaiwen's gap from the Transcendent Realm Master was too distant. No matter how hard Yi Shiwen tried to resist, the big hand bombarded on Yi Shiwen. Puff! Blood splattered out in the vast sky. At the same time, on the battlefield, the eyes of countless masters firmly lay on Yi Zaiwen's side. There was no other reason than the emergence of the Transcendent Realm Master. Transcendent Realm Master. They could still be regarded as a ruler even in this chaotic battlefield. Every time the Transcendent Realm Masters make a move, they would attract countless people's attention. The matter of Yi Shiwen causing a Transcendent Realm Master to personally make a move and disregard his or her identity was something unlikely. But now it really happened. Is this guy dead? He should be dead, right? Although he is already a half-step Transcendent Realm, there is definitely no way to survive against a Transcendent Realm Master. Among the disciples of Emergent School, countless people think so. In their view, this was just a bold disciple in a true martial school. They did not feel anything special about his death. Is that Yi Shiwen? I don't think I'm wrong. I have seen him once before when he was fighting Mu Xingjie. He is definitely a distinguished character. But I can't believe someone like him is dead. Transcendent Realm Master is indeed horrifying. We can only dream of reaching that realm. A true martial school disciple said sadly, in empathy. No matter the tension of internal conflict within true martial school, they would still be united together in a life and death situation. Any contradictions would be deteriorating at this time. Seeing that a half-step Transcendent Realm Master was directly fanned to death under one palm of a Transcendent Realm Master, it was inevitable that they sympathized and grieved. The other true martial school disciples nodded. This is the power of the Transcendent Realm Master. Fortunately, there are relatively few Transcendent Realm Masters in this world. Otherwise, there is no room for us to intervene in this battle. But it is a pity that Yi Shiwen has fallen here. With his talents, it is possible for him to become a Transcendent Realm Master in the future. In this chaotic world, any genius is ridiculous. It is those who can survive a genius, who will remember the prestige of those who die early. I thought that Yi Shiwen would make a name under the sky. I didn't expect that he would follow suit the path of death. When everyone was talking, shockwaves emitted in the sky. A burst of golden light suddenly appeared. Yi Zaiwen's figure appeared alongside the light. Right now, he was almost like an airplane with lost power. He fell down directly with his body badly mangled. At that very moment, he still avoided the deadliest attack. However, even so, his body had already collapsed. His flesh was badly mutilated. It could be said as extremely bleak. It was so badly mangled that white bones could be seen in the larger wound. His face was abnormally pale, had lost the vigor that he usually had. Everyone exclaimed. He didn't expect that at this most critical time, he had evaded the deadliest attack and escaped a catastrophe. His luck was simply heaven-defying. However, some people took in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were very sharp, especially those half-step Transcendent Realm Masters who saw the wound on Yi Shiwen. All of them breathed in cold air. Although Yi Shiwen escaped the most terrifying attacks, the wounds on Yi Zaiwen's body portrayed how terrible the attack Yi Shiwen had sustained. There was hardly any peace vigor left on his body. Even if Yi Shiwen evaded the most terrifying attack, there was still crazy energy that was constantly destroying the cells of his body. If they were put in the same sport, They would definitely die if they were caught like this. Even though Yi Shiwen escaped out of luck, there was no way to suppress the crazy destruction in the body. Such terrible forces were not something they could resist at all. Even if they were lucky enough to escape the attack, they would be killed by the crazy destruction force. Moreover, being able to escape from the hands of the Transcendent Realm Master. Could that be called luck? How many people have had such luck since ancient times? Anyone was welcome to try to challenge their luck. What kind of eyesight do the masters have? The so-called luck was non-existent. As a matter of fact, the Transcendent Realm Masters had gone through so many battles. They wouldn't make such a petty mistake. There was only one possibility to escape from the Masters of Transcendent Realm. That would an escape based on pure strength and capability. The great sages, and legendary Realm Master could not notice any hint of it. It was really a shocking movement technique that allowed him to break free from the space locked by Transcendent Realm Masters. No one would believe that it was not great. Many masters of half-step Transcendent Realm late couldn't help but admire this scene. This person's survivability was far beyond the ordinary level. He was like a cockroach. If anyone else took Yi Zaiwen's position, they would be long dead already. It was a miracle that Yi Shiwen, as a half-step Transcendent Realm initial, could survive until now. At this time, Yi Shiwen didn't even know what other people thought. The horrible impact almost made his Star Beast avatar fall apart at once. What a tyrannical bloodline. Any bloodline talent was illusory in front of this absolute tyrannical strength. In the face of a power realm gap, his Star Beast avatar was unmatched. At this time, his head was almost blank. There was still a little bit of Transcendent Realm information captured through the Mingxin ancient tree and mysterious space. Even if there was only a little bit of Transcendent Realm Master's Tao, it was still a huge gain. If Yi Zaiwen's main body, who was still in Great Sage Realm, could grasp it, it would bring huge empowerment. But this was not the key. The key lay in the terrible energy that constantly destroyed his avatar. Although it was just a mass of energy, it was like someone leading it as if the energy was self-conscious and was constantly destroying the muscle tissue in his body. Even with his Phoenix regeneration technique, there was no way to completely suppress his physical body collapsing, let alone to repair the injuries in his body constantly. The horror behind Transcendent Realm Master could be imagined. You want to flee? There was a cold snort seemingly coming from the depths of the universe. Chapter 760. Chapter 760. Big Harvest, even his Phoenix regeneration technique, could only forcefully suppress this energy and contend with this energy little by little for control. Every time that energy destroys certain parts, his Phoenix regeneration technique would need to repair the wound. The ramifications of this destructive energy alone would be enough to kill any other person completely. But even so, Yi Shiwen had no way to rejuvenate his injury. On the flip side, this was also a rare experience for him. After all, not everyone could survive the attack of the Transcendent Realm Master. He rushed into the true martial school like an airplane crash. You think you can flee? Suddenly, a cold sneer appeared behind Yi Shiwen again. The sneer was as if coming from the depths of the universe. The tone contained some anger. As a matter of fact, he was a Transcendent Realm Master, and yet he failed to slay Yi Shiwen. Even though there were various reasons, it was a shame and humiliation for him. Thus, a calm Transcendent Realm Master would still turn angry, wanting to erase Yi Shiwen completely. Another big hand descended from the sky. It wanted to grab Yi Shiwen directly and turn Yi Shiwen into a ball of mincemeat. It's over, Yi Shiwen wailed. He no longer had the strength to face the attack of the Transcendent Realm Master. The strength gap between him and the Transcendent Realm was clear at a glance. He was only able to take a blow from the Transcendent Realm Master once. Moreover, there was still some fluke in escaping this attack. But he was not in despair yet. Unbeknownst to others, this was just his Star Beast avatar. Although it would explode and incur serious damage to Yi Shiwen would not really die per se. But if Star Beast avatar really exploded, Then his strength would suddenly regress from being able to attack and retreat in this battle to become an insignificant little person. His current main body was also quite powerful, being able to defeat the Great Sage Minor Mastery Realm and the Great Sage Great Mastery Realm. However, it was unmatched to the real tyrannical master. Even in the Great Sage, there were many who could beat him, not to mention half-step Transcendent Realm Master. In this chaotic battlefield, if one was not careful, he or she would really die. Yi Shiwen was so bold this time that he decided to penetrate the formation with brute force instead of sneaking in. In fact, it was due to the mightiness of Star Beast Avatar. This Star Beast Avatar was really powerful, making him almost invincible. However, in the face of the Transcendent Realm Master, it was defeated at once, let alone his main body. If it was not the last moment, he was also reluctant to give up, but there was no other way this time around. He could only watch the Star Beast Avatar get beaten to death without being able to do anything. At the same time, the Tianyuan mirror revitalized it at once. He mobilized it in order to brace himself for another critical blow. But Yi Shiwen heard another soft yell coming from Tianyu. A plain white fist pierced the void and instantly hit the big hand. Boom! It seemed like two huge stars collided suddenly. A huge mushroom cloud suddenly rose up. The terrible shockwaves swept out in an instant. Many disciples of Emergent School and True Martial School were pushed away. Countless people were horrified. Another Transcendent Realm Master made a move. Everyone stared at the sky. As a matter of fact, even after fighting for several months, they rarely saw Transcendent Realm Masters exchanging blows. This was because the Transcendent Realm Master was too tyrannical. Most people could not imagine how strong they were. Once they fought all out, the entire battlefield would be destroyed. At that time, the disciples of both sides would suffer heavy losses. Both sides did not want to see it. Despite no one pointing it out clearly, the Transcendent Realm Masters on both sides still put the battlefield deep in the universe. Over there, it didn't matter how they fight. They could go all out. Due to the obstruction of this white fist, Yi Shiwen finally fell safely on a hill within the control of True Martial School. He collapsed on the ground. The previous encounter was really too dangerous. Yi Shiwen could die on the spot so easily. Yi Shiwen smiled a bit bitterly at the moment. It seemed that he was too arrogant. He originally thought that even if he could not beat the Transcendent Realm Master, there was still a certain possibility of escape. But the results said otherwise. If Yi Shiwen was not rescued in time on the second attack, he would be long dead already. At that time, Yi Shiwen really didn't know he was pushing his luck. But if he was given another chance, he would choose the same path. After all, he had a big harvest despite approaching death. In the energy which brought crazy destruction, there was Transcendent Realm Master's Tao. If Yi Shiwen could grasp it, then he had more confidence to step into Transcendent Realm in the future. In other words, this was a wealth that was hard for ordinary people to obtain. Even if others wanted it, it was impossible to resist the blow of the Transcendent Realm Master. Only Yi Shiwen could do it. As long as he could gain some insights, his main body as well as Star Beast Avatar would obtain great benefits. Their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. Some good comes out of a setback. It's really dangerous this time. I was almost killed by the Transcendent Realm Master. Yi Shiwen still had lingering fear despite it really was just a little bit. Ha ha, although dangerous, your gain is also great. This is not what those elixirs can make up for, the Transcendent Realm Master's Tao. Right now, you can seal it into your part of your body. By then, your cultivation will have rapid progress. Yi Mo laughed and cheered for Yi Shiwen. You both are lunatics. Do you know how dangerous that was? We almost got caught. Wolf Cub and the Tianyuan Mirror complained. If they weren't saved, the Tianyuan Mirror would not escape the fate of destruction. Hence, Yi Shiwen and Yi Mo were simply crazy in his view. But in conclusion, in his tone, there was a little excitement. Although this event was dangerous, it was undoubtedly very exciting. Yi Shiwen nodded, but with a bitter face. With the Phoenix regeneration technique, it could only suppress the injury. It would take a long time to attain the full suppression and utilize it for his own use. Transcendent Realm Master's power was not so easy to be assimilated. Of course, he could also request Master Titan Star Sun to do it. In that case, the Transcendent Realm's power in his body would be quickly cleaned up. However, Yi Shiwen did not want that to happen. He would rather assimilate it slowly. Later, while amidst assimilating this power, his cultivation would continue to advance by leaps and bounds. If Yi Shiwen wanted to completely heal the injury and suppress the destructive energy, he would need to help from elixir consumption. The amount required would be unpredictable. For others, this was an unimaginable loss, but it was not a big deal for Yi Shiwen. Despite him failing to block off Transcendent Realm Master's attack, it had already consumed 1 billion elixir. For him, the price of this gain was nothing compared to this harvest. With the constant burning of elixirs, Yi Shiwen finally suppressed the injuries on his body bit by bit. The original terrible injuries were recovered bit by bit. Although this was caused by the Transcendent Realm Master, it was not too difficult to rejuvenate other than the constant energy destructing his body. As long as the energy was suppressed in the body, then the rest would be much simpler. In a few moments, most of the injury was healed. Yi Shiwen could feel the gaze around him. There was curiosity, awe, disdain, and all kinds of complicated gaze lay on him. But Yi Shiwen didn't care. He knew it was inevitable. It was definitely shocking to escape from the Transcendent Realm Master. It would naturally attract the attention of countless people. This was not surprising. Suddenly, a burst of light shone from the sky. A beautiful lady in a palace dress stepped in. She wore a green dress, but her pretty face was cold. It was none other than Fair Maiden Peak's chief. Yi Shiwen quickly got up and saluted, and said, "Thank you for saving me, chief." He heard the familiar voice just now. He knew that it was none other than the Fair Maiden Peak's chief who rescued him. Yi Shiwen had to be respectful. Firstly, the chief had rescued him. Second of all, she was a senior and the masters of Shaoya. Yi Shiwen had seen the exchange of blows just now clearly. The gap between him and the Transcendent Realm Master was so unimaginable that he would need to be respectful. You're destined to survive. You can recover 80% of the injury in such a short amount of time. No wonder you can escape from the other opponent. Fair Maiden Peak's chief had a cool face. It was like this ever since Zaiwen's first encounter with her. It did not change after so many years, which worried Yi Shiwen a little, that Xiaoyu would be taught into someone like this. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.